Welcome to the National Havoc Robot League's 2025 Open World Championship. It's the third round of the season, and the story of today, this sport is getting younger. In our 3-pound class, younglings galore. In 12s and 30s, it's colleges all the time. I'm here with my good friend Kyle Cross. Kyle, how have these fights been today?
Sam, I gotta tell you, we have seen absolutely insane action all day today. These fights have been intense. All of it comes down to the final 8 in every single weight class, and that starts right now.
All right, well, we are going to take a look in our primetime pits where the teams are loaded up and getting ready for these fights. And you might find that 2 of these robots are missing, and that is because they are in this cage right now. Kyle, let's lock it and rock it.
All right, let's go to our friends Adam and Ricky in the booth. Guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm Ricky Willems. We have Adam Wrigley with me here today. We are so excited. This is going to be a great fight. We have a full day full of great fights. But starting off with Little Lash and Kratos, this is going to be a fantastic way to start the night.
Classic fight of a control bot going up against a giant horizontal spinner. Who's going to get the better of it? I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to find out right now. You can check it out. Kratos getting turned on right now. Little Lash, I presume, already fully functional. Still got its weapon lock in. Just a few moments, this match is going to be kicked off. This, of course, has been a big day, as was mentioned earlier, for all sorts of college teams. Kratos is a good example of that. Little Lash coming from the other side of the spectrum, veteran competitors that have been building for years and years off on their own. I think this is going to be a really fun way to see how the, we'll call them the college kids, shake out against the real pros.
Yeah, Kratos coming out of MIT, big school, of course. These robots both getting through a tough day of fighting earlier. We've been fighting all day through the qualifiers to get here to the top 8. See who's going to take home that coveted golden dumpster. First fight of the evening is a big one. That is the most powerful weapon here today in Kratos. It packs a punch. But Little Lash has a great looking wedge on the front.
Yeah, it's a great counter to that weapon if it works, and they've been having some trouble here getting that weapon spun up to speed. So that'll be the first hurdle to clear, and then we'll find out if the geometry of that weapon is any match for Little Lash and that very sizable wedge on the front of the robot.
Yes, they've been having trouble getting it spun up, but once it is spun up, boy, does it look good. They're trying to do a few new things with that motor. They've got a variable KV motor in there. That sometimes is a little finicky. It seems like they're pulling it back to the door here and doing a power cycle. They've put the safety back in.
Yeah, that is an interesting way to start off your match. Not exactly filling me with faith for the troubles that they've had already today.
Yeah, not a good sign, especially when you've had gremlins all day long. Now, sometimes you just need to get a better bind on the transmitter. Off and on can help.
I hear some beeping coming from the robot. That's, you know, at least a sign that things are turning on.
It's not the good kind of beeping, though.
It depends. You know, you can set those beeps to be whatever you want, but you're right. It doesn't bode the best.
Yeah, it's the I'm not synced, I'm not connecting beep. You want that doo-doo-doo kind of nice, complete musical tone to signal that your robot is connected to your transmitter.
Yeah, there's this music theory idea of resolution, you know, and usually when your transmitter turns on, it builds a little bit of suspense, and then that last little tone is a bit of resolution to the little jingle that it plays for you. I'm not hearing that.
Are you a sound designer in your free time? That
I
was
am.
a quite in-depth analysis there.
Yeah, it's one of the litany of jobs that I have had that I probably shouldn't have.
Now it's getting flipped over, and that's doubly not a good sign when they have to start looking at the bottom. Hearing the crowd chant, "Let's go robots" in the background.
Yeah, now you do have a limited amount of time to be able to service your robot cage side before you're disqualified. They've got to be going up against that time period.
It's a 1 minute countdown usually. Now I feel like this isn't helping their chances in the YouTube poll I'm seeing just get posted here.
I'm not following that currently, and for Kratos' sake, I don't know that I will.
It wasn't looking good for them, I'll say that. The bot sure does look good, though. A lot of beautiful machining.
The trouble is, this is a robot that is trying a lot of new things.
Yes.
I mean, there's a ton of engineering that's been poured into this, and each one of those systems requires time and practice to prove out.
Yeah. And sometimes it just doesn't all come together at the first event.
This could be, you can see there, a lot of trepidation.
Oh, the shaking head.
Love the chanting.
I don't know if it rhymed, but
well, if the energy's there, it doesn't have to rhyme.
Yeah. Are they turning it on? Are they turning it off? Things are getting twisted, and it's coming out of the box. Unfortunate start.
This appears to be a forfeit. Unfortunately, Little Lash will be taking home a win, but not in the way they planned.
Yeah, nobody likes to lose by forfeit, certainly, but nobody likes to win by forfeit either. Everyone wants a fight. Little Lash has been dialing it in all day. I think they wanted to show off a little bit there. Kratos, unfortunately, a rough start to their NHRL career. And Little Lash is going to face the winner of Emperor versus Termigato.
Yeah, Termigato being a proudly Floridian robot.
Yes, great name.
And I believe with that forfeit, Little Lash has now qualified for the championships at the end of the year. That puts them in the top 4.
Making the top 4 in your first event is huge, so we'll see them back here in December at the World Championship, invitational event.
Next up, we will be moving, I believe, to Tsunami and Allen. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same arena or moving to a different arena. No, we are moving to Termigato and Emperor. At least that will be the next fight in Arena 1. This is a really interesting matchup as well. Emperor is a perennial entry here. They have an absolutely massive weapon. One of the biggest weapons.
Biggest robot here.
Yes, it's certainly the biggest robot today. And really a powerful weapon. They have historically had issues with weapon reliability and drive reliability and just reliability in general.
Yeah, they're doing a lot here. This is a shuffler. That's why it's so large. So they don't use wheels. They have feet. Their feet operated via a motor, a series of cam mechanisms. They walk sort of like an old steam train. And that gets you a weight bonus here. If you don't use wheels, you can weigh 50% more. So they're going to weigh 45 pounds, even though this is a 30-pound fight. They get that weight bonus. That's going to be a very complex mechanism. It's probably going to be a little bit slower. It's definitely a little more fragile than a wheel. But the payoff is they get to be bigger and heavier than their opponent. Termigato coming in has treads, which usually can give you great maneuverability, although they have been having some electrical gremlins today.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We'll find out a little more about that soon. For the moment, we're going to head over to Kyle at the desk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready for our next fight. We have Emperor from Team Pandemonium, captained by Jillian Doolittle. And on the other side of the arena, we're going to have Gator Robotics' Termigato, captained by Brooke Silber. Both of these bots have giant weapons. This is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so here we are. Your first bot, Jillian Doolittle and Emperor. Look at the size of this weapon blade. absolutely massive. When this bot is working, it's got more kinetic energy than anything in the game. And they are up against Brooke Silver and Termigato. This is a Gator Robotics team, brand new design for them. Treaded wheels, giant drum, double belted. This thing hits like a ton of bricks. I cannot wait to see this action. Let's go to Adam and Ricky in the booth to call this fight.
I sure do hope Termigator works in this fight and has figured out those gremlins from earlier today, because boy, does it look like something sitting in the box there. It's so wide, it's so low, the proportions are great going up against such a big, tall robot in Emperor. This is going to be, you know, a fight of vastly different design strategies, but still a classic, you know, horizontal versus vertical matchup here. And let's see what happens. Just look at that drum.
It's really interesting to see. This is a front wedge, wide front wedge on the front of Termigator. Usually that's great against a horizontal like Emperor, but it's a very, very low wedge. So we don't know if it'll come into play.
Almost looks like Termigator can entirely fit below the wedge.
Robots fight.
Well, there's your answer. That wedge is just the right height. Wow, Termigator doing some real damage there and immediately getting stuck on the wall, calling for an unstick instantly.
Now that's tricky. They have to go the rest of the fight and they won't be able to get an unstick again.
Cage 4 taking big pieces knocked out of it.
Brutal hits on Emperor. Now Emperor's stuck on the wall. And they're gonna use their unstick. Both teams using their unstick here.
Oh, he's just spinning full up into the front of the house robot. Why?
Oh! And now they're stuck again.
I think they'll be able to get off. Yeah. They're so close. This is interesting. They could totally do it. There it is. Yep.
Termigator not letting up.
Termigator just tanking these hits. Whatever gremlins they had earlier in the day.
Oh, not taking that
one.
one.
My goodness.
The drum is completely dislodged.
Yes, but Emperor's not moving.
This could be a double KO if Emperor can't move.
Emperor needs to get out of this position if they don't want this to become a double KO. I don't know if I'd call that a knockout.
Maybe they were just celebrating.
It could be. It could be. We'll go to a cage side decision. Obviously, the refs far more informed than we are. Either way, incredible hit by Emperor. Emperor headed to the championships. That's saying a lot as well. This is a robot that has fought for a championship spot for a long, long time.
Termigator got their gremlins figured out and was putting on a clinic until their robot broke in half. What's interesting is that Emperor still is getting shoved back to the door here, and if they can't move, I would think that would be a double KO. Team Pandemonium very excited with that one. Let's take a look at the replays here. Right off the bat, Termigator aggressive, controlling the fight, so much power in Emperor, and Termigator taking it repeatedly until this last hit just destroyed the weapon frame.
Wow. Those are some big, big hits on both of these robots, but you can't argue with the damage on Termigator. That was a nasty hit. I'm still really curious to get a clarification, but there's, once it's called, I think it's called.
I guess they just kind of were celebrating. It didn't move it. Couldn't quite tell at the end there in the replay, but what a hit by Emperor at the end there.
We're gonna head back to the desk. Kyle, take us away.
Hi, fellas. How are you doing today? So we're going to talk a little bit about where we're at in the 30-pound bracket at this moment. It is a crazy amount of competition in there this event. So let's go ahead and bring that up on screen when we get a chance. All right, so there you see, bottom of the bracket, we have Little Lash will be facing off against Emperor. Up in the top, we know Anxiety is going to be moving ahead by forfeit. Ghoul has forfeited. There wasn't much of Ghoul left after the last fight, so I'm not surprised by that. But our next matchup is going to be Tsunami versus Alan. Alan from Team Too Hot to Handle, Nick Grumsky, and of course Tsunami from the Robo Jackets, University of Georgia team. Managoel is the captain of that bot. It has seen better days. It's been through some rough patches today. We'll see how well they repaired it in the pits for this next fight. All right, so now we're getting ready for that round of 4. The fight that is loading in to the arena right now is going to be Tsunami from Team Robo Jackets. Managoel, they've had a rough day. A lot of explosions, a lot of things have gone wrong. But let's go ahead and meet them right now. From Team Robo Jackets, it's Managoel and Tsunami. Oh, they're doing the wave. I love it. Powerful egg beater vertical spinner. They will be going up against Teams Too Hot to Handles, Nick Grumsky and Alan. That's right. It's Barbie and Ken's friend, Alan. He's just here to blow some stuff up. That's all. So let's go to our friends Adam and Ricky in the booth to call this action.
Thank you so much, Kyle. This is going to be another great fight. Tsunami and Alan have had a really interesting day. Both of these robots have had some big hits, and both of them have had some problems intermittently.
Yeah, Tsunami came out in the previous fight, ended up winning it, but right off the bat, immediately burst into flames.
5.
So
4,
they're hoping not to do that here.
2, 1.
We'll find out.
Fight, robots, fight.
Alan, perhaps my favorite Barbie.
Alan, interesting robot.
There it is. Big hit, sending an end over end. Tsunami is now hung up. There's a big piece of plastic that prevents their wheels. If it's upside down, it's not going to be able to move.
I wonder why they flipped them back there and not just
I don't know. It would have been the end.
A sporting move.
Oh, and now they're interlocked. The TPU frame on Tsunami is wrapped around the weapon on Alan. They are caught up. This is going to require an unstick.
Yeah. You're not getting out of that one. Now, Alan's an interesting robot, but it seems they've removed one of their interesting features. They previously, earlier in the day, had a smaller spinner around back, and that was working to counter the gyro of the main spinner. And it also did work as a functional weapon, but we're going to pause the fight here and separate these two with the safety crowbar, as they are very stuck. Now, when the robot gets stuck on the arena, they can request an unstick from the house robot. When they get stuck together, they'll get a free unstick from the house robot. But when they're really stuck together, then we'll give it a try with the safety crowbar manually. Now, we don't use the safety crowbar if they're stuck on the arena, but if they're stuck on each other, the crowbar will come out. Now, that's not going to be counted as entanglement. That was an unintentional entanglement. If that kept happening throughout the day, if Tsunami's armor just kept capturing opponents' weapons like that, they might be asked to remove it. But after one kind of fluky hit like that, that won't be the case. But it'll be noted moving forward. We don't allow entanglement, purposeful entanglement of spinning weapons here. But sometimes you can get accidental entanglement like that.
Ooh, another big hit there.
That is a tough piece to hit, as Alan just sort of slammed into the weapon of Tsunami. That's hardened steel on hardened steel.
Sometimes that's all you can do is just use your face to break your opponent's fist.
the weapon of Tsunami almost working with a hook when they get in there. Now right on the base plate, that's where they want to get. Tsunami moving a little slower as the fight goes on. Alan not quite enough power to really hit these side panels and just keeps digging into them here. You can see Tsunami's own armor is sucked into their weapon right now, and maybe why it's not spinning.
It could be, but there's also a very new shape to the back of Tsunami, and I think that may have something to do with it as well.
It's true. That weapon is very stuck, though, as Alan keeps hitting it, and it's still not spinning.
That's a good point. Yeah, the fact that you can hit it with that big of a weapon from Alan, and it does.
It just stays in place.
Look at that!
Into
what
the
a
thing.
Perfect place to put your opponent when you want to win.
And a round of applause from the crowd. They appreciate the precision. The Tsunami's going to request the unstick. And there they go. That is their sole arena unstick. If Alan gets them stuck again, they will win the fight. Now, Alan does appear to be stuck on some sort of debris, and they will use their unstick.
Yeah, interesting. The design is so strange in some ways to have your wheels that far back.
That large, but yet no ground clearance. I wonder if just the wheels are just wearing down here.
It's very possible. It's also possible if the hits that they've been getting have just been adding up. It looks like Alan is about to be counted out. Alan has been, no, that is the end of the match. So it's going to the bell. Wow. You know, I would say that this is a shocking and surprising outcome, but we've seen weird things all day from Alan and all day from Tsunami. When the two of them get together, it kind of only makes sense that you're going to get a weird outcome.
Yeah, you know, these are two robots coming in here. And, you know, Tsunami's been to a lot of events. Alan's first event. Tsunami's been having a weird day, a lot of bugs. We're going to toss it back to the desk. What do they have to say? Kyle?
I gotta tell you, that Alan is such a nice guy, but I don't understand why its wheels are so far back. Cool robot.
Very cool.
Strange design. And are the weapon motors just like out?
Yeah.
So
Although
weird.
I didn't see the little baby weapon in the back.
All right, so to get more information for us today, up in the pits, we have our new pit reporter, Richard. It is so good to see you up there. Wow, look at this shot of you, buddy.
Am I right? Like, look at this. And thank you guys for the warm welcome. I am getting my NHRL primetime initiation in the primetime pits. Why is it called the primetime pits? Because you have to earn your way to this spot. You spend hours, weeks, and months just to get here, and now it all comes down to this. You see a lot of college apparel and some young faces because those are the teams that are making up prime time for this NHRL event. So we'll be checking in with you guys throughout prime time, and thanks again, guys. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Richard.
So nice to have him on board. Let's go ahead and talk about our next bracket. We'll be moving on to the 3-pound weight class. It was a huge division at the beginning of the day. This is what we have left. Top of the bracket, Sir Slicey, Chainsaw Kitty, Strike Point versus Wreck Creation. Love that name. Down at the bottom of the bracket, Big G and Bean Supreme Refried. And down at the very bottom, Usagi and Caldera.
This is a diverse field, Kyle.
It is. The only golden dumpster winner left in that entire bracket is Caldera down at the bottom. They won a golden dumpster back at the RIT event over a year ago. Crazy. But in the meantime, let's meet our competitors for our first primetime 3-pound fight from Team Robot Monkey, Evan Bimji and Sir Slicey. I love this robot. The blades are so weird. It's so strange.
And he'll be up against Keziah Sky and Chainsaw Kitty.
That's right, representing Sleepy Anime Girl Club. This robot looks like a glass cannon, but believe me, it can take hits just as well as it dishes them out. Known for roofing, this bot is absolutely insane. Let's go to our friends Adam and Ricky in the booth to call this matchup.
We are in for an amazing fight here. Sir Slicey took out Mako to get to this fight. That was a tremendous win by them. And Chainsaw Kitty has looked phenomenal all day long. Just tremendous driving, tremendous engagement on every hit. This is going to be a back-and-forth battle, I think. What do you think, Ricky?
We've had a lot of concerns, a lot of wonders about whether Chainsaw Kitty was really going to be able to bring it today. Those have all been put aside. This robot has been operating, firing on all cylinders. Sir Slicey is going to have its work cut out for it, but it has also been doing fantastic. All I know is we're going to have a great fight.
Fight, robots, fight.
Chainsaw Kitty winning the engagement right off the bat. Sir Slicey going absolutely bonkers.
Chaos mode by Sir Slicey here.
Your opponent can't figure out your strategy if you don't know what your strategy is.
Chainsaw Kitty winning a lot of these engagements early on.
Yeah, very impressive. However, spending a long time upside down.
Their weapon motor fully exposed. But
yeah, now having drive side issues on the left. However, Sir Slicey isn't moving at all. The weapon has spun down. They're asking for an unstick.
That might just be a last-ditch effort. I don't know if that robot works.
No, I think that robot is dead in the water. Stranger things have happened. It could come back. But Chainsaw Kitty, I believe, has just won this fight by knocking. Look at the damage. You can see the carbon fiber peeling up on the edge of Sir Slicey. You can see a big gash and dent on the bottom of the robot.
But they are not tapping out. Chainsaw Kitty's not even letting them get counted out.
No, belts are getting torn asunder.
I don't think that robot works. Here comes the count out. Here comes the celebration. Chainsaw Kitty in a vulnerable position. Sir Slicey came in for the kill shot, and I don't know what happened.
No, this is crazy. This is the Chainsaw Kitty advantage. For whatever reason, they've dialed in that robot so much that when it bounces around, it lands in the right spot and attacks again. You can see a lot of emotions here.
Crowd cheering on Sir Slicey for a great performance here. And sometimes in combat robotics, a little bit of chaos happens. Let's take a look at the replays to see if we can see what happened on that last hit. Early on, all Chainsaw Kitty.
Yeah, there was a moment there, it felt like Sir Slicey may have had a leg to stand on. Yeah. For whatever reason, Chainsaw Kitty not able to self-right as quickly as it usually does. And it just worked out
at the end there. Wow. That's gonna put Chainsaw Kitty in the top 4. Let's head back to the desk.
Now, Kyle, not only is Chainsaw Kitty in the top 4 of this tournament, but that means something else as well.
That's right. Kazaya Sky, Sleepy Anime Girl Club, they have qualified for the World Championship Tournament at the end of the year and a chance at winning the Golden Brett. The most prestigious Golden Brett in any weight class, in my opinion. That 3-pound Golden Brett is highly sought after.
It is very hard to win, so many 3-pounders, and I hear we have a judge's decision, so let's take a look.
We getting there?
I can't wait.
All right, here it comes. That's right. Unanimous judge's decision. Barbie and Ken's best friend, Alan. Congratulations to Alan and Team Too Hot to Handle. All right, so they will be moving on as well, and that is a lot of fun for them.
Yeah.
Let's go up to Richard in the pits. Richard, who do you got for us?
Well, I have the one and only Glenn of Caldera, the last remaining former champion in this tournament. Glenn, where's the pressure at?
I feel that the pressure's quite high this time to actually take one home here at NHRL. I got the remote event. I now want to do one here. And I feel a lot of pressure to do this. There's so many good bots left.
What's the strategy or challenges against an opponent like you, Swaggy?
Oh, she's got a, I'm betting they're going to bring out a full wedge on the front. So they're going to try to get me up against the wall and then come over the top and try to hammer saw me. So I'm going to have to try to not get trapped. And today I've been having troubles against wedges on that one. So.
Scale of 1 to 100, where's your confidence going into this next fight?
About a 60. This fight is heads up. It could go either way.
Well, my confidence is in you too. We'll send it back to you guys downstairs.
All right, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Glenn. Saw a bunch of pizza boxes in the background. Some builders getting fueled up for these fights.
We do have to keep them fed, otherwise they would forget to feed themselves. It's a thing that happens at these robotic competitions. You get a little bit into your bot, you get a little bit into what you're doing, and you lose track of things like eating and drinking and using the bathroom. So, you know. Yeah,
but the stuff that matters, you still remember. Like,
you mean like the Loctite? You've got to remember to put the Loctite on no matter what happens? Yeah, I agree. All right, so we are going to tee up our next fight. We have got more 3-pound action coming your way. There we see loaded in. It is Strike Point.
And they're going up against Rec Creation. And we're
That's
going to go
right.
to the booth to call this fight. Adam and Ricky, take it away.
Thank you, Sam. First off, I just want to call out Rec Creation is a fantastic name. I think we've all commented on it except me, and I need to give my alms to whoever came up with that name. I assume it's the driver, Roger Hahn. He's coming here from Huntington, New York. This is not its first rodeo. This has been here for 3 previous events. Middling record, but having a pretty darn good day. They're going up against Strike Point, which is a new creation from Sean Becker. He's bringing this all the way from California, and this has been a robot that has been, if not the talk of the pits, it's been the talk of us behind the scenes because it does some really creative
4,
things.
3,
So let's see how it does.
1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Let's go. Recreation moving right over the forks on Strike Point.
Uh-oh. That's where Strike Point wants to be.
Look, the plastic being shorn off the top. That served as exactly 1 extra life, and it's gone now.
And there goes the tape that was holding it in place. Uh-oh. Showing your belly to a hammer saw.
And a giant gash torn in the bottom of Recreation.
You never have much armor on the bottom, and it's going right through it.
Robot is no longer moving at all. It's a tap out.
A tap out in the top 8, and that's going to put Strike Point into the top 4. And Recreation is going to have to go home. But they look happy.
I love the combination of the shirt and the necklace there. It's just a fantastic stylistic combo. So many competitors have upped their game of ringside apparel. Really love to see it, but honestly, that's not the story here. The story is a new robot in the form of Strike Point, just sliding on up the bracket.
Undefeated all day, and that is impressive. Flying out, you know, that's going to make the flight home a lot shorter. You came out, you went undefeated, straight to the semifinals. They're going to be here for the championships, and they've got to be happy with that performance.
You know, there's 2 ways this can go, and it went one very particular way. Strike Point showed up and had a bunch of extra options. A lot of those options didn't work out, but they were smart enough to leave them to the side, so we're not going to focus on that. We're just going to get our main robot dialed in. That's exactly what they did, and I'm sure next time they'll have all these creative additions, but this time they have a dialed-in weapon that earns them the right to come back no matter what.
Impressive day for them. Let's throw it back to the desk, Kyle and Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Wow. All right. So very interesting day for that team moving forward. We are coming down to it in that 3-pound bracket, seeing who will move on into the Final 4, as it were. I'm pretty excited about the day so far.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Chainsaw Kitty versus Strike Point fight.
That should be pretty interesting. Yeah, there's also another one that I'm looking at down at the bottom. Usagi versus Caldera. By the way, the second Sleepy Anime Girl Club bot in this competition still there.
Nice.
Small team, but 2 bots left in the bracket with that small team. Very impressive, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, I bet they want to win that fight so bad. Get that qualifications.
All right, let's go ahead and meet our next competitors right now. First up. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Stephen Bennett and Big G. This team is Junkyard Dog. This bot is a scrapper. Love this machine. And they are up against.
They're up against
Razi Strano and Bean Supreme. Refried.
Love it.
I love this bot. It's a lifter. It drives well. It's wedgy. You can't complain. Razi knows what he's doing. Great robot. He's handing out beans to the crowd. This is why you've got to come here. There's beans, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we're going to head to the play-by-play booth. Ricky and Adam, take it away.
I'm just so enthused that a team has figured out how to incorporate food in a way that doesn't mess up my arena.
Those are beans!
I mean, with the price of eggs these days, you gotta hand out food. Bravo! It's a charity at this point.
A bean intro. Look at the bean on the shirt with the arms. I really like that bean.
I do too. It's unique in a way that I never would have thought of, and those are the people I respect the most.
And they are on the verge of making the World Championships. One of these two is going to be coming back in December. One of these two is going to be going on tonight. One's going to be going home.
Oh, they're both going to be going home.
Well, that's true. We don't hold anybody prisoner just because they win.
That's a good idea, yeah. You're not guaranteed to come back. You're guaranteed to be here because you never leave. I love the bling. The accoutrements are on point.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be one of the largest letters in the building. Quite an exciting matchup here. Big, strong feeder bar going off against this flipper wedge.
Fight, robots, fight.
Control versus energy. Yeah. Oh, there's some of that energy. Bean Supreme going flying into the ceiling.
Massive hits. Interesting. The matchup here usually would favor Bean Supreme, but they're losing these engagements. Big G is throwing his opponent into the air rather than sliding up that ramp.
Bean Supreme has so much power, they're doing wheelies a lot of the time. Which can't be good for their ground clearance.
Absolutely not, but I don't know if it's the factor that's costing them these engagements or not. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
So far, Big G absolutely dialed in. But the compliant plastic, the bending parts on Bean Supreme are not showing the damage.
This is really showing the difference of 3-pound robots versus the other classes. The speed here is just incredible.
Now, do you hear that? I'm hearing some beeping from within the arena. Something is turning on and off.
Oh. And it doesn't look like Big G is super responsive in the drive. Possibly a receiver or something has come unplugged, and you might have heard the...
Very possible. However, the wheels are spinning again on Big G.
One of them is. Yeah, could have been some sort of reset, needing a 0 signal. Maybe they haven't gone neutral on the right stick to reset that one.
I gotta say, as so often is the case, when they start playing defensively and they're only having this one wheel, this is where the driving skill comes out.
1.5 minutes left in this fight. We're only halfway through. This is anyone's game here. Big G still has the weapon, but only one side of drive. They did lose both for a moment, so it could come back. Great pin and flip there by Bean Supreme. Ooh, nice flip there by Big G. This is a back and forth fight. You really want to see Bean Supreme here take advantage of the maneuverability difference with Big G on only one wheel.
Yeah, it's so strange to me that Big G has been able to kind of stay neck and neck with Being Supreme so far. Being Supreme not able to capitalize hardly at all.
Yeah, I mean, Being Supreme is a control bot. It's a wedge, it's a flipper, and they're just not really controlling this fight.
They're starting to get their feet under them.
Yeah.
For what I think they need to be a little slower, or what they are doing that's working is they are being a little slower and a little more intentional with when they flip, maybe flipping a little slower as well.
Yeah, I will be clear. I think Big G is kind of ceding control, right? They're not doing a lot either.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And Being Supreme just backing up to the door to end that one.
That is a really interesting match. It's going to be tough for the judges to score exactly. I think man.
It is tough. You know, Being Supreme making it to the end pretty much unscathed. Big G losing a drive side, and after that, kind of, you know, being a bit hectic. You know, hard to give much control or aggression there, but Being Supreme not really able to take advantage of it. So I don't know if I could give as much control or aggression to them as I would have wanted to see, but a tough fight to judge without anyone really strongly forcing their way in there. Being Supreme does have beans. Are they giving beans to the judges?
Oh, I think we've got
that would
ethics
sway
concerns. We're going to head back to the desk, see if they're swimming in beans. Guys?
No one has given me a single bean, and quite frankly, I'm offended. I need more protein today. There we go. There is a drone.
Let's see if the drone can find some beans in the crowd.
It's a bean finder flying through the crowd.
I see some Mako. I see some red. I see some refs. Hello, I see us.
We do ask that our audience not try to catch the drone or swat it out of the sky. Just remember, it's got blades spinning on it that spin at a very high speed. They can't hurt you, but they don't feel great when you catch them in your hand.
No, not at all, really.
I wouldn't know that from personal experience or anything.
All right, checking out the birthday party zone into the VIP area. Looks like almost everyone is crowded into the bowl around cages 1 and 2 where all this action is happening.
Did you know you can order food into the VIP area now?
Oh yeah, I was aware of that. That's pretty cool. All right.
All right, so today has been absolutely insane. We are moving to the last part of this bracket, but in the meantime, let's go up to the pits with our new pit reporter, Richard. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I am up here in the primetime pits with Matt Vasquez of Little Lash. I'm just kidding. That's Little Lash down there. Much bigger than this one up here. So, Matt, the start to the 30-pound has been interesting to say the least. What are we working on right now?
Yeah, so unfortunately, our last match against Kratos, they forfeit. They weren't ready for that match, which was sad. We really wanted the match, but, you know, we get to qualify, so we're happy about that. So some good news for us. But yeah, we're fighting Emperor. Lucky for me, the configuration we're going in to fight Kratos with is the same we want to fight Emperor with. So we have nothing we need to do. I made one modification. While we were waiting to fight Kratos by the box, I had an idea where in our anxiety fight, we got stuck in the wall at one point and got free. But it was because these corners are really sharp and they jabbed into the wood. So one thing we did do is I ground these corners round. So if we do bump into the wall, we're not going to get stuck. Because if we get stuck with them and they hit us from behind, we are done. We can't get stuck. So we're thinking of every edge case at this point, but I think we're good. I don't know what else to do.
I agree. Stellar day so far for Matt Vasquez and Little Lash. We'll send it back to you guys at the test.
All right, thank you,
guys
Richard.
So much. Man, I love those Vasquez guys. They're so cool.
Yeah, and Little Lash hasn't got a lot of fights in today. The forfeit doesn't help, but ooh, this just in. We've got a judge's decision.
All right.
All right, oh, here it is, and Being Supreme refried by unanimous judges' decision takes it over Big G, and they take that qualification to the World Championships at the end of the year in December. Exciting stuff for Being Supreme.
No surprise there. Rozzy Strano, really excellent driver, great machine in Being Supreme refried. In the meantime, let's meet our next competitors. Representing Sleepy Anime Girl Club, it's Mint and her bot, Usagi. Powerful overhead attack bot. This event in many ways is the event of the hammer saw. And up next, representing Team Too Hot to Handle, Glenn Boxall and the legendary Caldera.
Glenn Boxall's the only one with the title to defend here, winning the RIT World Championship in March of last year. And for this fight, we are heading to the play-by-play booth with Ricky and Adam.
Thank you, guys. This is going to be another heck of a fight. Glenn Boxall was looking serious there. I think there's a lot of, Mint also looking serious. This is a match with a lot of intensity.
This is the 179th ranked 3-pounder in Usagi, going up against the 10th ranked 3-pounder in Caldera.
Look at the massive, massive wedge on the front of Usagi.
I think this could be Usagi's fight.
Robots
it all comes down to driving. Are they going to be able to keep that wedge on their opponent? If they can, it's a cakewalk. If they can't, they're going home in a body bag.
Very controlled, very deliberate here.
That is what they need to not do again. They let Caldera catch the edge of their wedge, sending them flying. One more mistake like that, and it will all be over for Usagi.
Just able to get out of the way there. Caldera continuously going for that edge, as you noted.
Oh, this is so close. And now, perfect, taking excellent advantage. Usagi's able to push around once that weapon spins down. Until that point, they gotta play careful.
They really want to try to get that weapon spun down so they can use theirs. They're not going to be able to use their weapon while Caldera is spun up, and that will hurt them in aggression points if they're never bringing that down for the
There it
whole
was
fight.
again, another one of those hits that can so easily become deadly. They escaped it for the moment. There it is. That's what they need to take advantage of right this moment while they're spun down, and they can't do it. But they live to the next engagement, so they're not out of chances. Here it is again. That's the space they need. They need to create those pockets, those opportunities, and seize on them.
Now, these hammer saw robots usually have forks under their opponent when they bring their saw down. That kind of holds them in place. Without those, you could see they did kind of a wheelie from the force of the hammer saw coming over the top. Just over half this fight gone, and Usagi's been pretty controlling here. Caldera not able to do much, but you got to give aggression to Caldera because they're using their weapon. Usagi's got to be careful backing into it like that.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's 50-50 on who's executing more perfectly their strategy. Oh, the wheel has come off! Now, granted, Usagi has multi-wheel drive. They can drive fine without that, but that is still damage.
That is damage. That is going to hurt them if this makes it to a judge's decision. They got to hope they can get a shot here or take out Caldera's weapon, but Caldera looks 100%.
Oh, they're getting desperate now.
Now they're swinging it even without Caldera being spun down.
There it is. That's the moment. Strike, hit. Oh, so close.
Caldera able to get out of the way.
Folks, the temperature is being turned up.
Backing into it with the weapon now, just trying to do anything with 18 seconds left. Oh,
big hits.
That's a big hit.
Drive still running. This is gonna be going to a judge's decision.
If nothing else, those last few engagements should certainly help the aggression score, but Usagi unable to deliver a hit here, controls much of the fight, losing a wheel. That is a tight one. We'll see what the judges make of it. I mean, if I'm Usagi, I gotta be happy that I was able to not take any massive hits, not get torn in half, but you gotta be disappointed you're unable to deliver the weapon. And from Caldera's side, wow.
Both of these competitors played the game they needed to play. I mean, they drove within spitting distance of perfect. Man, Team Chainsaw Kitty, or Sleepy Anime Girl Club, rather, not riding high. I don't think that's the expectation.
No, you can. I mean, sometimes you can judge who won by looking at the drivers' faces, and Glenn is looking a bit more upset after that one than Mint is. But quite a fight. I mean, Caldera's got to be happy being able to tear that wheel off.
We're going to go into the replay. You can see some of this. That kind of moment right there. There were only a few minor mistakes that Mint made, but they counted for a lot. Meanwhile, Caldera never really able to gain control. They could only...
This was the one.
This was the one. This was the missed.
Yeah, an inch off. And then there goes the wheel. You got to think that the conservative nature of Mint throughout much of the fight got them to the end.
Yes.
But maybe a bit more of aggression, you know, would have been risky, but maybe they could have gotten a shot in.
We're going to go back to the desk. Only the judges can tell us now, Adam.
Yeah, and we don't know what they say yet.
No, we are still awaiting that judge's decision, but that will be our last 3-pound fight in that bracket, or that portion of the bracket. Let's look at where we're at in the 3-pound bracket right now.
All right. Advancing from that Sir Slicey fight is Chainsaw Kitty. And Strike Point took it over Recreation. Big G fell to Bean Supreme Refried. And we are waiting on that judge's decision from the Usagi versus Caldera fight. But either way, Bean Supreme Refried for that battle? It's
yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see if there will be 2 Sleepy Anime Girl Club robots in the finals there, the semifinals there. It's an interesting proposition. It'd be really, really strange to see. There's only 2 robots being fielded by that team at this event, and if they both made it in, that would be absolutely unprecedented. Really cool. But then again, my vote, Glenn Boxall and Caldera. He deserves another dumpster. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The guy's phenomenal, and look at how hard he works, and look at how good his driving is.
I don't know if anyone deserves a dumpster, or
he'll earn it. He'll earn it.
Yeah.
He's already earned it in my heart. But yes, we are now going to be moving on to the 12-pound bracket. So let's look at the 12-pound bracket to see where we are right now. Up at the top of the bracket, we've got Void taking on Michael, Torrent taking on Minan and Plusle, Robocat taking on the Budget Boy, and down at the bottom, we've got Flashbang taking on Cherry. These are all new bots. These are all bots we've never seen with the Golden Dumpster before. Somebody is going to be earning their first Golden Dumpster ever in this bracket today, and that is very exciting.
Which of these fights are got you the most juice, Kyle?
I gotta tell you, I'm pretty pumped about Void versus Michael. That one is really standing out to me. The Void has been really showing some power today.
They weren't really on my radar until today.
Yeah, should have been.
But we got a JD, a judge's decision, and Caldera, unanimous decision over Usagi.
Wow, really close fight. 1 point spread across the entire thing, still unanimous for Caldera. I'm glad they showed the full spread because that tells the whole story. This was a very close matchup, well-driven Mint. She's brand new to the sport, but man, that was an excellent showing against a seasoned veteran. All right,
we're gonna head over to Cage 1 where we've got our first 12-pound fight, and it's gonna be called by our friends in the booth.
Thank you, Sam. We're pretty excited over here. I just want to take a second. I'm excited about that result. I definitely had a little bit of a rooting for Usagi, but love to see those results where the judges are unified and on the same page.
It feels right, and you know, it's unanimous, but it was close. I mean, 9-8, 9-8, 9-8. That's as close as you can get, and yeah, it feels right for that fight. This fight coming up, Void is loud.
Yes. That's, you know, it wasn't the first word I was going to bring up, but you're right. This is one of those robots that sounds terrifying. And for good reason. This is a robot that packs a heavy-duty punch.
And so does Michael.
Fight, robots, fight.
There's that spin up. Something's going to go flying in just a moment here.
Michael has an interesting strategy here. The horizontal spinner makes their opponent put on a wedge, and then they can back in with those forks and get right under it.
Yeah, they are really playing tactically here. It's working out so far.
They gotta be careful here.
Oh, they're smoking again!
They ran into the wall and smoked their motor.
Yeah, that weapon system is down on Michael. They could win, but this is going to be really tough.
You see Void spinning down here to get more control, trying to avoid the gyro effect.
Yeah, this is a robot that has a lot of gyroscopic effect. Normally, they spin very fast. So that is a great boon to them if they can dodge that problem by just keeping the weapon at kind of an idle, so to speak.
And then they gave up on that strategy. They're spinning it back up. Those forks on Michael are proving a nuisance to Void, as now Michael's weapon is down, but they're almost doing better just going in with these forks.
I think that was their strategy to begin with, and they were just hoping they could get a couple of pins or maybe push that weapon into a wall. Either way, they're doing a fantastic job with keeping control of this match.
Yeah, Void, who has not really had any damage, is having trouble driving and a lot of trouble connecting. We know there's a ton of power in that
The left
weapon.
side drive on Void is now down or at least severely hampered.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Highly abnormal for the side to fall off.
Now, usually they're designed so that the side doesn't fall off.
Yeah, usually it stays on.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, still anybody's game, but Void, for having not been directly attacked on that side.
Now they're just hitting their own panel.
Yeah,
I want to hit something.
No, Michael is stuck under the floorboards now, calling for an unstick.
Is Void going to be able to spin around? No, Void gets stuck.
That, I think, was a tactical error on Void's part.
Yeah.
They could have gone in for a hit before that unstick.
I think they got stuck on that piece of the floor. Just the wrong time. Floor, of course, getting a bit beat up as we go on here throughout the day. That's part of the game. Everyone knows that's going to happen. And you have to design around it. They're finally getting a couple of hits on Michael.
Oh, and now Michael has stopped moving entirely just before the match goes to the final time.
Looks like they're going to be saved by the bell.
Just barely.
That's going to go to the judges, but I think I know how they're going to call it with Michael unable to move at the end of the fight. Void is almost certainly going to take that.
Wow, what a strange journey through that fight. The robots today have been acting so they've been acting so strangely the entire day. I'm going to go practice my tongue twisters, and we can listen in here at the cage. Oh, no, excuse me, we're going to go to a replay. Let's do that instead. See if we can see those big hits. You can see great work by Michael to keep the opponent at bay, but they just had this early motor failure.
You could see they ran into the wood there, and the wood causes some big current spikes as you chew into it, and they did it twice in a row in quick succession. Killed the weapon, and then Void able to get a couple of hits at the end of there, kill the drive too. Let's send it up to Richard in the pits and see what he's up to.
Richard, what you got?
Hey guys, we are in the OHIO section of the primetime pit area with Austin of Kent State's Flashbang. College teams have been a big talk of this tournament. You guys have an opponent coming up representing Georgia Tech. How you feeling about that one?
You know, I'm feeling pretty good. Our bot's designed a lot around our armor. We have a lot of armor. So we're going to try and take as many hits as we can, deliver some big punches.
And what are the modifications or tweaks that you made going into this particular matchup?
So yeah, we're running really heavy armor. We kind of decreased our entire bot weight to specifically run this armor. You know, one thing that I like about our bot is we have a lot of reach with our drum. So their drum, it's a little low on the reach. So yeah, I think we've got a pretty good chance.
So what are your thoughts on this being a potential college rivalry specifically for combat robotics?
We've seen it before. We fought a lot of other colleges. And, you know, I love fighting other colleges, especially ones from Ohio. So, you know.
All right, we've got 4 different college teams and 2 different matchups for the 12-pound. Excited for those ones. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Richard.
Really appreciate that report from the Prime Time Pits with Richard. This 12-pound bracket is going to be an absolute death round. I cannot wait to see that matchup between Flashbang and Cherry. Kent State and the Robo Jackets. You gotta love it. It's gonna be fun. It's cool. All right. In the meantime, let's meet our next competitors. First up, representing Team Pandemonium, Donald Sung and his robot, Torrent. Love this machine. Old school vibes, new school technology. Donald is an amazing driver. He's gonna face, representing Team Defective, captained by Matt Luther, it's Minan and Plusle. Pokemon themed bots, hub motors, tracked wheels. That's right, it's Minan and Plusle, Defective versus Pandemonium, a tale as old as time. Let's hear that story from our friends in the booth. Take it away, Adam and Ricky.
Thank you, Kyle. Minan and Plusle have been on such a roll lately. These are 2 robots that were off to, I'm going to say a shaky start, but they were thoroughly average when they first hit the ring. They have gotten so dialed in, and we've seen such great driving, such great reliability out of these 2 robots. On the other hand, Torrent, always a heavy hitter. This is a robot that has been to 7 previous events. This is their 8th event.
5, 4,
they can deal
3,
out a punishment.
2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
All robots up to a good and solid start. Torrent winning these first engagements pretty handedly.
Now, you know, Minan and Plusle being a multi-bot, they combined way more than Torrent. They get a weight bonus, but each one individually weighs less.
Yeah, oh goodness. The front of Minan, front of Plusle is starting to get dented in.
The front of the red one is bent.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, it's not that it's bent, it's that the armor is coming loose. Yeah. That may be a strategic point. Some robots will do that.
Yeah, you'd rather it come off than get bent into an annoying place.
Yes, exactly correct. Now, this is that. You see what happened there. Minan and Plusle work together.
They're calling for the unstick.
And they are not giving up a moment. Minan and Plusle are going to take every opportunity for damage during that unstick attempt.
That is allowed, of course.
And it worked. Torrent is now hobbling.
Yeah, of course.
Only able to drive backwards on the left and not able to drive at all on the right, or at least not appreciably.
Ooh. Yeah, they are not moving well, and they've got more than half the fight left. However, half of Minan and Plusle also down completely. So that's going to really hurt if Minan and Plusle go to a judge's decision.
Oh, look, Torrent no longer moving at all. Well, there it is. It was just stuck up on half of Minan and Plusle.
Both robots here struggling. Who's going to be able to pull this one out? Will they both make it to the JD, or will Minan and Plusle be able to finish off Torrent? Both weapons are still working full speed. And I don't think they want to go in with Plusle directly into that weapon. But do they have the maneuverability to avoid it? Oh!
Yeah, the red half is Plusle, and this is absolutely winnable for them, but they're very, very cautious. And they've got to be very cautious.
Can't be too cautious here. You're going home if you lose. Either way, so they've got to show some aggression. I mean, by my count, they're down in damage.
This is the way you show aggression in this kind of circumstance. You pick a safe space to start attacking, and you lightly chew away at it.
Yeah, Torrent here is kind of hobbled. They're having trouble showing any sort of aggression or control.
And now they're upside down.
And so Minan has to get in here, or Plusle has to get in here and show some, just to end up on the positive side.
It does appear that Torrent drives a little better. Oh, there it is. That's the moment. They have no unsticks left on Torrent, but it's not going to matter because Plusle is just going to chew in.
You don't want to end the fight stuck in the corner. Plusle coming in, landing some hits on the base plate there. And Torrent is not going to be happy ending the fight like that. Let's take a look at the replays. Some big exchanges, some interesting moments here, especially early on. As you can see, the weight advantage of Torrent paying off in these early hits. This was the turning point of the fight.
That turning point is when they started working together.
Yeah.
When the two robots were able to tag team and come in, do one hit after another. This was a match that was never going to go to Minan and Plusle if they couldn't use the multi-bot advantage. And it was only when they started to that it turned in their favor at all. We're going to head back to the desk. They're going to have a judge's decision for us soon. Desk, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Ricky.
Whew. All right, so we do have a judge's decision coming your way. These are never fun this late in the game. There's a lot of anxiety.
It's nerve-wracking.
Right? I don't know how I feel about it. But our judges have been super consistent today across the board, so we have a judge's decision for you now.
All right. From the previous fight, a split decision. Void taking it over Michael in one of the... This is as close as it gets, Kyle.
Absolutely, 1 point spread across the board. The fact that it is so close shows that our judging rubric has gotten so good. I cannot believe it was a split decision even, but 1 point spread across the entire thing. Your winner, Void. Congratulations to the Void team. Trevor Summer moving on into the next round. Really happy to see it. Semifinal matchup.
Team Defective hoping to win yet another judge's decision from the Minan and Plusle fight that just happened, and they could. That ending might have swayed something.
Might be a day for college teams, but therefore Team Defective might actually be showing their strength in compared to all the youngins out here and taking home some dumpsters today.
Ooh.
We'll see how that goes.
I hear that there's some stuff up in the pits that we need to take a look at. RoboCat from the UCCR team. It looks like they're struggling a bit here. All right. I see, it looks like it's weapon related. They're in the middle of their robot. Sometimes there's some thrust bearings that are getting stuck and your stack isn't spinning in the way that it needs to. I don't see a lot of scrambling happening right now, so I don't think the pressure's on too hard.
Well, scrambling isn't safe.
Scrambling isn't safe, but it's necessary if there's not a lot of time.
All right, guys, this just in. We have a judge's decision from that last matchup. That's right. Your winner by unanimous judge's decision, Team Defective and Minan and Plusle. Congratulations to Team Defective. 2 judges' decisions in a row for them. Really well done.
Kyle, the judges' decisions, winning that is great, but 2 qualifications for the World Championships. These first round fights of primetime are so important.
Absolutely, 1,000% agree with you there. Matt Luther and Zoe King, the 2 drivers behind Minan and Plusle, 2 designers behind Minan and Plusle, really have to be happy with that judge's decision as well as that qualification for the World Championship final.
All right, we're gonna head back up to the pits where we have Richard. And Richard, what you got going on up there?
I've got Kazaya of Chainsaw Kitty. So obviously we talked Friday about how this was a whole redesign and you were going out to see how it was gonna work. So what are we working on and how's it doing so far?
I'm just putting it back together, putting on a different front config for Strike Point. Only thing I lost in the last match was a drive motor. I have a replacement. That's kind of the first part I've lost all day. So new version of Kitty, killing it. She drives great.
Your attitude of calm and collective right now is almost concerning, but I feel like you've got this unlocked. No urgency, you're just kind of piecing it away.
Yeah, like I said, I really haven't lost anything, so she has taken very little damage. Yeah, she's ready.
All right, she's ready. You heard it, so we'll go ahead and send it back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thank you, Richard. She seems ready.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Chainsaw Kitty is always ready, and Kazaya's not far behind. All right, so let's meet our next competitors. First up, from Kent State, Austin Thibner and Flashbang.
Cover your eyes. It's got a big yellow drum.
And they will be going up against Team Robojackets, Alexander King and his bot, Cherry. Gotta love the color scheme. We got the whole red versus blue thing going on. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
Clearly a Robojackets robot. You can tell by the number of eyes at the end of the name. And speaking of eyes, I think we've got 4 of them in the play-by-play booth. Ricky and Adam, please take it away.
Yeah, we actually had a tragic staple gun accident. There's 3 eyes left here. No, we're fine. We're doing great. I'm excited for this fight. We have been having, I don't know, I've just been thrilled with the collegiate team world today. Take it away, Adam. What do you think?
I mean, I'm excited for this fight. I've been excited for all the fights all day long, but I think this will be good. 2 drums going up against each other is always a fun time.
Right, and this is where I really get to see the engineering strategy take off. Are these going to be who's going to win these engagements with the drum? Yeah. Which one's lower? Which one's faster? Which one's sharper?
I think too it becomes a real driver's battle. You know, the 2 similar robots here. You know, they're not playing the ground game. There will be a difference in tip speed, but it can be a real great driver's test. Two nice, dense drum bots going against each other.
Yeah, I guess we'll find that out really quickly. If it's a geometry game or if it's all drivers. I would love to see a drivers match here in the 12-pound division. It's especially fun with such a big cage for 12-pound robots to run around in. It makes for some really fun drivers.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Oh, a little issue with Cherry's drum spinning up at first. Both cautious in their engagements. Oh. Flashbang winning, but only by the slightest amount. Oh. Flashbang not driving well on the right side, yeah. But Cherry not very stable.
Doesn't look like anything hit it. It just isn't moving anymore.
That is a lot of smoke coming out of the robot. And a few flames.
That looks like a battery fire.
It
does.
The
smoke is sinking.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a flashbang, not a smoke grenade, right? Very different strategy than what we expected. It does appear it's still going. It is, and not like a little bit. It's still spinning pretty good.
Not quite anymore.
I mean, it only lasts so long. Yeah, the weapon is spinning down. The drive is no longer running. This is going to be a knockout. Cherry's going to be taking this home.
You know, the robots run on the magic smoke, and once you let enough of it out, they just don't work anymore.
Right, and then you got to go to all this work, pumping it back in.
Yeah.
And then the final twitch. That I love. You got a battery that's 90% vaporized and still wants to move the weapon a little bit. Cherry incredibly pleased.
I don't know why that happened. You know, it seemed like Flashbang was controlling the fight. They're winning the engagement. They lose a side of drive and then just burst into flames.
Well, we saw a wheel really struggling to spin there for a while. It could have just overcurrented that battery. Too much draw, too much drain. When you try to force a broken part to work, the pixies get angry and they start lighting things on fire. Let's go to the replay, see if we can see that magic moment.
I wonder if maybe a piece of debris got sucked in.
When your tips were close to mine. Here we go. No, it's coming off that left side too, which was the side that was running. Now, that doesn't mean a lot. The battery could be on that side. It could be that had a looser seal. Yeah, no way to tell.
Well, congrats to Cherry. They're going to be moving on.
Maybe Richard can give us a little information on that up in the pits here a little later. We will find out.
Getting flamed. Of course, we have a negative pressure arena here. All of that smoke is getting evacuated out of the building, so everyone is safe and sound inside here. Our house robot Fluffy is equipped with a fire extinguisher to help put out the fires. Of course, these battery fires are tricky to put out, so we'll let it smoke for a little bit before we have someone go in full safety gear to prep that robot to come out. There's a lot of power in these
Look
bots.
at that. You hear
Here's a
Adam
replay.
talking earlier about how that smoke is sinking. You see this sometimes because the smoke becomes heavier and denser than the regular air it collects on the floor.
That's
and then
one
it
of
gets blown away by
That's
a
one of the
giant...
ways that we're able to tell the difference between the battery smoke and some of the controller smoke or some of the belt smoke. It's the battery smoke sinks.
Usually, yes.
Usually.
There's variability here, but that is the way it tends to work. Now, hopefully we can get that moved with a little bit of haste outside of the building. There's no danger in keeping it in the arena, but we do have fireboxes.
A bit of battery on the floor there. And it's melted out the bottom of the robot.
Oh, yeah. Just a little puddle of battery. That's not the way batteries are supposed to work.
No, it's not good when your battery turns into a puddle.
They have molten batteries. That's a thing. We don't allow them here at NHRL. Definitely not the way that lithium batteries are supposed to work. We're going to get that removed from the arena relatively
the smoke
quickly.
is dying down.
Yeah, that looks ready to be plucked off the vine and taken outside. I'm sure that the competitors are eager to get their robots back and get the repairs going soon.
Can't quite see it in the shot, but if you were to look up, there's big vents sucking all the air out from inside the arena. We're going to send it back to the desk and hear what they have to say.
All right. That was some heavy smoke.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen to you when it gets a little that intense in the box. The smoke gets real thick, tensions get real high, and the smiles get really big on everyone's faces in the bowl here.
All right, well, while we deal with this cage, we're gonna head up to the pits where, look at that, primetime pits are already starting to clear out a touch.
Yeah, we're getting down to it, that's right. The semifinals are set for all three of our weight classes now.
So if you see your team here, they're probably still in the tournament. I see Budget Boy in the front there. We've got some Robo Jackets behind them. The Cincinnati team behind them. It's still looking pretty good up here in the primetime pits.
It's looking fantastic.
Yeah,
everybody's
undersold
in good spirits. Their pit tables are organized and nicely put together. Nobody's panicking. And there's lots of Ohio.
There sure is. This new sky cam up there is pretty cool, Kyle.
I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of it myself. When they told me they added up there, I said, that's gratuitous. But now that I see it, it's not gratuitous. It's just right.
Yeah, now we can add 5 more before the next tournament.
That's going to be awesome. When do we get our sky cam?
Oh, you know, it's one of the 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
That's
then
perfect.
after that, we're going to do 10 more for the tournament after that, and then 20, and we're just going to go exponential with our sky
Let's get
cam.
a sky cam behind us as well so we can start tracking our bald spots over time. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Nah.
All right, so we are in prime time. We have come down to the semifinal brackets in all 3 of our weight classes. We have some really unexpected bots down there, but I will say I'm pretty happy to see that the only remaining Golden Dumpster winner is still in the bracket. That's right. Too hot to handle's Glenn Boxall with Caldera still in that 3-pound bracket, going after his second 3-pound Golden Dumpster, winning his last one over a year ago at the RIT event. But in the meantime, we've got 12-pound bracket action coming your way.
All right, and this is where we are at as we're heading into the semifinals after a forfeit from RoboCat puts Budget Boy up against Cherry, who took it over Flashbang, who's still leaving smoke places. At the top of the bracket, Void defeated Michael and will now face Minan and Plusle, the multi-bot, shredded, hub motor, dense, blue and red Pokemon bot.
Yeah, of course.
So looking pretty good. A lot of verts. but that's the way 12 pounds go.
Not that budget boy. That budget boys are lifters of our dreams. It is accessible. It is budgeted. It is exactly what everybody wants. It's a really cool idea. Ryan Duarte wanted to build a bot that was accessible for normal folks. You don't need crazy machines to do it. You just need simple 3D printing skills, and you can build your own budget boy, open source. Smart idea from an MIT builder, Ryan Duarte. And, you know, everything else they build over there is really high level. So it's cool that they wanted to put something together that literally anyone could use. And I think that's great.
Yeah, having the goal of accessibility for your robot is really noble.
And if you win a golden dumpster with your accessible robot, all the better.
Yeah. And then I wonder how many budget boys we'll see after that.
So many. You can get your golden dumpster on a budget. Who doesn't want that? All right, so 12-pound bracket is set. That's got us going there, but still in the big boxes. Let's head over to the 30-pound bracket and see who the final 4 remaining are.
All right, here we are. Go ahead, Kyle. Who's at the top there?
Up at the top, we've got Anxiety and Alan. I love these two robots. Down at the bottom, we've got Little Lash taking on the Emperor. Ooh. This is just a really interesting collection of bots. I don't think anybody expected anybody to be here, any of these bots to be here, with the exception of maybe Little Lash. But
yeah, they won their last tournament over in SoCal.
That's exactly right. Whenever they come over from the West Coast, we see some amazing shows from them. Those Vasquez brothers really know how to put on a performance in the box. Very excited to see how they hold up against the biggest blade in the business, Emperor. That bot is insane. Huge weapon, big old shuffler pods, 45 pounds of destructive capability inside a 30-pound arena. Really impressive machine.
All right, we're going to head up to the pits right now where we have Richard. Richard, how's it going?
That's right, guys. Speaking of this big matchup, one of the bots that stole our hearts today, I've got Tim and Daniel of Chubby Unicode. You guys are very excited for this one. How do you see this one going down?
So I think for this, there's a difference in style. There's a difference in what these bots want. If you're Little Lash, what you're looking for is control. You've built a career off of this with all their robots. You want good control. You want a lot of lifts. You want a lot of little hits with their spinner. You want to try and get Emperor like up on their side, try and see if you can out-control it. If you're Emperor, you just want big hits. You want to take that arm, you want to rip that arm off, you want to hit something vital, try and go for a KO. And so I think it's going to be a clash of styles.
Would it be better if they were using a DDR pad, Tim?
Almost certainly not. It might be more fun to watch, but it definitely would not be more fun to control.
Well, I don't know.
You never know. Well, we're taking a break from talking with some of the current competitors to get a fight preview, so to speak. So there you have it for the big matchup between Little Lash and Emperor. We're going to send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Richard. Thank you to the Chubby Unicode team. Holding it down and winning the most fun bot of the day.
Deservedly so. What a cool concept. Now, we all love Chubby Unicorn. One of the best 3-pound competitors we have here. The nemesis of Chainsaw Kitty in so many ways, right? They have so many great back-and-forth matches. But Tim's gotten to the point where he's not all about the winning anymore. He just wants to have fun. He wants to see what he can make happen. He wants to experiment, try some new things. And that's how we get guitars that drive death machines. It's not Mad Max. It's National Havoc Robot League.
And it's pretty cool. Death machines that play guitars maybe is the future, but until then.
Yeah, just come here. See what we got. It's all there for you. Listen, we are going to be moving on to the 30-pound bracket next. So it is time to meet our next competitors. First up, representing Team Robo Jackets, it's Evan Strakes and Anxiety! You know it's a Robo Jackets team when they put multiple eyes in the back of their robot, that's right. And they'll be facing, from Team Too Hot to Handle, it's Nick Grumsky and Alan! Alan is not a team member, Alan is the robot.
The robot's part of the team, Kyle.
I love Alan. The color scheme's fantastic. Friends with Barbie and Ken, and here to destroy everything. All right, so while they get locked up and ready to go, let's pass it to our friends in the booth. Adam and Ricky, let's call this fight.
Thank you, Kyle. I am pretty darn excited about this. Here's the tail of the tape for Anxiety going up against Alan. Anxiety coming all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. This is an undercutter with a 15-mile-an-hour drive speed and 220 miles an hour on that big horizontal blade. They're going up against Alan from Nick Grumsky. He's coming up from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Really powerful vertical spinner with a 280-mile-an-hour tip speed. However, Alan kind of saunters around the arena at a mild 4 miles per hour. We're going to see how they do in the fight in just a moment. You can see they are just about loaded up. Really interesting. Look at just there's a motor hanging out on the back.
Well,
Alan.
I think that was previously set up to spin, a small spinner off the back. It was countering the gyro, and you know, it was also a little weapon. That's not there anymore. They seem to have removed that bit, but it seems like some of it's still there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they removed it, especially for this fight, to run this bigger front wedge that we're seeing on Alan. They haven't run this wedge in every fight. So it could be they just needed the weight up front. And wedges just are such a good counter to these big horizontal spinners as long as you drive well.
4, 3.
Alan has been impressive today, making it this far.
Robots
Such an unconventional robot, but Anxiety is tough.
That wedge is working beautifully, but the weapon belt has already been dislodged on Alan. They're going to be down a weapon for the rest of this fight. However, I guess they can just run it into their opponent's weapon and it'll spin at least a little.
Oh, Anxiety having a little bit of trouble spinning up here.
Yeah, that's the thing with these horizontals, especially the big blades. If they're not dialed in perfectly, the sudden stops from a wedge like Alan's can really wreak havoc on your electronics.
And the arena, you got to be careful with a horizontal running into the arena walls. Big current spikes from those soft materials.
Alan, really interesting design, we'll call it. The wheels are so far back that the whole robot kind of drags a bit.
Now, Alan does have wheels at the front center hidden inside the chassis.
Yes, but clearly they are doing a minority of the work here right now.
I feel like it's a little low. The whole robot's a little low. We saw in their earlier fight, they just had trouble driving as it went on, almost like the wheels were.
Oh, it's asking for an unstick now. Alan is stuck up on some sort of arena debris.
As the evening goes on, the floors get worse.
Interesting and shocking, honestly. Alan has tapped out. Anxiety taking the win.
Anxiety going to move on to the finals. You don't see tap outs a lot at this point, but Alan has made the championships later this year. They could be trying to conserve the robot because they're going to have to bring that back in December.
That's a great point, especially for some of these younger teams. When you don't have all the spares in the world, it may be really important that you keep your robot in a relatively good shape.
Yeah, this is the first event for Alan from Nick Grumsky. Congrats to him. He'll be driving back to Pittsburgh, excited to make the championships later this year. But double congrats to Evan Strakes and Anxiety, who are going to be going on to the finals tonight and fighting for a golden dumpster.
Yeah, they'll be heading up against either Little Lash or Emperor, depending on how our next 30-pound fight goes. Either one of those is going to be a really interesting fight. But if I'm Anxiety, I'm hoping for Emperor. We're going to go to a replay here, see if we can see just when it went wrong for Alan. There's the first major thing. That belt came off so quickly. I think there's an additional belt guard needed in this design.
It is hard to come back from a hit like that right at the start. I mean, we have seen it today, teams coming back from bad starts, but not this time for Alan. Anxiety able to hold on for the win. Alan proving to be quite a durable chassis, but they're going to have to work a little bit on the weapon and the drive, get a little bit more ground clearance in there so they can keep going as the floor gets chewed up through the night.
We're going to head back to the desk, and they're going to get us ready for our next set of fights.
All right, 12-pound final is shaping up. Congratulations to Anxiety moving on to the final. But next we're going to see who they will be facing in that final. This is going to be explosive pretty much any way you put it together. There's one team that is no slouch at facing giant horizontal spinners, and there's another team that's a giant horizontal spinner.
I'm excited. I'm not sure if it's going to be a one-hit wonder or a full 3 minutes slugfest. What do you think, Kyle?
You know, typically that is how the Vasquez brothers like to go. The full 3 minute slugfest, put on a great show. We'll see. All right. So this crowd is full. It is dense. They are ready for the rest of this 30-pound action.
Here?
How are you guys doing out here? Everybody doing okay?
Let's hear some noise from the crowd.
Yeah.
I think we can do a bit better than that, though, Kyle.
Do you?
Yeah, where's Red? Where's Dom? Let's hear some noise.
Look at that sky cam shot of everybody out in the crowd having a nice time. This building is bustling all day with all kinds of activities and places to see everywhere, but at the end of the night, everybody's eyes are glued to the bowl, to these final fights. 30-pound semifinal action coming your way. And I'd say this crowd is pretty pumped.
Yeah. All right, let's meet our next competitors, Kyle. Here we go.
So first up, from Team Whiplash, it's Matt Vasquez and Little Lash! Look at this, they're going full lifter arm, no spinner on this. They want all the armor, no weapon. Love it.
Smart.
And they're going up against, from Team Pandemonium, it's Jillian Doolittle and Emperor! The biggest blade in the business, ladies and gentlemen. How will it handle the team from Little Lash?
That bot is big. Let's head to the booth. Adam and Ricky, take it away.
Thank you, Sam. This is going to be exciting. Let's go to the tail of the tape for a more proper introduction. We've got Little Lash from Matt Vasquez. They came all the way from Newbury Park, California. They're running a lifter configuration on this modular robot. It is a 4-wheel drive, just monster. Can lift 25 pounds. They're going to be going up against Emperor from Jillian Doolittle. They're coming from Malden, Massachusetts, with probably the largest horizontal spinner we've ever seen here at NHRL. A little bonus feature, they're a shuffler, so they're weighing in at 45 pounds at 9 feet.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Emperor just got into the arena, and they are already smoking.
That is not a good sign.
Emperor has a history. Oh, and look at this kind of brown-colored smoke. A lot of times that is motor smoke, but you wouldn't expect motor smoke to happen at this
Did they even
juncture.
Turn it on? Was it right when they turned it on?
So a little lore here. Emperor has had a couple of battery fires, a couple of fires that were caused by non-combat events happening. So I don't want to say they quite have a reputation for this, but it's less surprising. In fact, today, Emperor has done very well with reliability, where in the past they've struggled quite a bit more.
What a harsh way to go out if they're not going to be able to fight here.
Now, there's nothing preventing them from trying to fight. It just seems pretty unlikely that if it starts smoking when you turn it on, that it's going to be able to move and function.
Yeah, I mean, something's gone. What was it? Was it a single controller on a drive side? Was it the weapon? Is it...
We don't know, and they might not
say. And then if it started to smoke and you turned it immediately off, you turn it back on, you might get bigger smoke. You know? An interesting design by Emperor here. You can see the shufflers inbound on the robot. Those are the little feet that allow it to walk, not roll. That gets them that 50% weight bonus. And they have those pods on the side, which they use as armor to prevent people from getting direct hits on those shuffler components. What's so funny about it to me is those look like wheel guards. It looks like there should be a wheel popping up out of the top and bottom of those little paws on the side. But those are purely air-gapped armor for these shufflers. You can see they're discussing here, what do they do? Debating turning it back on again, or I don't think they're going to do it. And the crowd wants them to fight, but this could be an expensive switch turn if something's wired wrong.
It could be. The question is what broke? They are more than entitled to attempt to fight if they can do the minimum that we expect a robot to do. If they can move even poorly in the arena, if that weapon can spin up. However, we are not going to allow them if they can't spin the weapon or if they can't move. I'm getting word now this is officially a forfeit. Emperor is headed home. Little Lash takes home the victory.
Wow, that's 2 forfeit victories in a row for Little Lash. They're going to make the final, having not fought a fight yet in primetime. And I'm sure they're happy to make the final. They don't want to make it like that. And I'm sure they would have wanted some more practice with this robot. You know, they've only fought it, I think, twice today.
Yeah, it's especially when you're coming all the way from California. It's not like these arenas just pop up all over the world. You want the practice time, for sure. So, yeah, I agree with you. Granted, Emperor is a big, heavy hitter. It's got to feel great walking away with literally no repairs. That is a huge feather in your cap. It's just, not quite the same as having pulled the beating heart out of your opponent and taken home the win by force.
And this would have been a great test of the durability of their robot. You want to see what it can do against something like this. But let's throw it back to the desk and hear what Kyle and Sam have to say.
I have to say I'm disappointed. I was really looking forward to that fight. I was really looking forward to that chess match of the big horizontal spinner versus the control bot. Unfortunately, just not what we got today.
I wanted to see stuff break, but not like that. So let's wrap up our 30-pound bracket. Here's how it's looking right now.
So right there at the end, that's right. We've got Anxiety from Team Robo Jackets. They'll be going up against Team Whiplash and their bot Little Lash. The Vasquez brothers making it all the way to a final without a single primetime fight.
Just skating right into that final. Anxiety's had to fight multiple fights to get to this point. Little Lash has just been chilling, changing configurations, and then changing back, I guess.
Well, let's go to a bracket where there are no easy paths to victory. The 3-pound division will be going through our semifinals now to find out who's going to be in that final bracket. Up at the top, we've got Chainsaw Kitty taking on Strike Point. Down at the bottom, the only control bot left, Being Supreme, taking on Caldera. Very cool spread of robots, different design types. I love the diversity.
I love it. Yeah, Kyle.
It's going to be cool. This is going to be a lot of fun.
All different weapon types. We got a classic vert. We've got a big horizontal. We got a hammer saw and a lifting wedge. This 3-pound class is great.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and meet our next competitor in the 3-pound semifinals.
All right.
Representing Sleepy Anime Girl Club, it's Kazuya Sky and Chainsaw Kitty! This bot has a vicious weapon, powerful drive. It has been maximized for the weight class. I just love this bot. It's so much fun to watch. They will be facing off against, from Team Thagomizer, it's Sean Becker and Strike Point!
All right, Sean coming all the way over from California with this robot. He's got multitudes of attachments, and we'll see what he has attached for this one against Chainsaw Kitty. Let's head to the booth. Ricky and Adam, take it away.
We've got a fight I've been excited to see all day long. Kazuya Sky bringing Chainsaw Kitty from Havre de Grace, Maryland. This vertical spinner is a terror. 1 3/4 inch weapon reach at 7.5 ounces of weight. It's going up against Strike Point, a new build from Sean Becker from Team Thagomizer, coming all the way out from Redlands, California. This is a nasty hammer saw with a 2-inch weapon on a 9-inch weapon arm. That weapon is fast. It spins incredibly fast, but it only spins a weight of 3 ounces. So the question is, a giant sledgehammer of a weapon spinning pretty fast, or a piercing bullet spinning at a blistering speed?
The way Kazaya is driving today, Sean is going to have a really hard time getting that weapon to land, but there are some juicy targets on the top of Chainsaw Kitty. We are in for a great fight. And what a tournament it's been so far for both these teams. Strike Point coming in their first event undefeated,
5,
straight to the semifinals.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Away we go. Uncharacteristically hesitant start from Chainsaw Kitty. The forks on the front of Strike Point are
great
immensely
driving, getting around the back.
Look at the power behind the weapon on Strike Point. Wow, a rare top shot.
Chainsaw Kitty got stuck in the floor seam. You can see that gash there. And a great shot by Strike Point, taking advantage. Didn't seem to do much. The weapon on Chainsaw Kitty is immensely powerful, and we have not seen that. Oh!
Wow!
A base plate shot.
These are strikes that you never see on Chainsaw Kitty. Strike Point doing an exceptional job of a control robot today.
Chainsaw Kitty bouncing right back. Those forks on the front of Strike Point are tremendous, and the width is just hard to overcome. Doesn't look like the weapon on Strike Point is spinning, though.
No.
That could be why these hits aren't dealing a lot of damage.
Wow, this is impressive. This is where Kazaya probably really wishes that she had...
Great shot there as the crowd is chanting Chainsaw.
This is the first version of Chainsaw in a long time that doesn't have a multi-bot. I'm sure that's being missed right now.
Great driving.
Absolutely, from both competitors. It seems like Strike Point is slowing down a little bit. They're having drive side issues on the right. Their left side, not all it's cracked up to be either.
And Kazaya is taking advantage here, getting around the side a lot, although Strike Point able to get another shot. Without the weapon spinning, though, it's not doing much.
No, and you can hear and see Kazaya's running the weapon slower on Chainsaw.
Just getting that control, getting that driving ability without as much gyro effect. And this has happened previously today where Chainsaw Kitty came in maybe a little slow, and in the back half of the fight just took advantage. You can see that happening here. Strike Point slowing down, although still getting some shots in, but without the weapon spinning, they're just not doing much. Chainsaw Kitty still spinning and taking chunks out with every hit.
Yeah, this is amazing growth of Kazaya as a driver. I don't think she could have pulled off this level of restraint and control earlier in her career. Really
hit
doing
after hit.
Yeah.
No, like just relentless, no break for Strike Point as it slows down further.
That robot is absolutely limping, and as she must, Kazaya is staying on top.
The crowd getting more and more into it with louder chants for Chainsaw as Strike Point flops around the arena trying to do anything.
Kazaya got Chainsaw Kitty on the head.
And then right back, and now I'm not seeing any movement out of Strike Point as the fight comes to a close. Kazaya really coming into it in the second half of that fight. Strike Point making it to the bell just barely. And that's gonna go to the judges. But I think I know who's gonna go to the finals.
Yeah, I think that is a foregone conclusion. Really good work from both teams. I have to stress just how impressive this is for Strike Point to have done this well, even in this one match, let alone the rest of the day, with a new build like this.
A tremendous showing by Strike Point. They're going to be back for the championships later this year. Going 6-1 in their first event is quite the accomplishment. Let's look at the replays here.
Oh, I didn't even realize the armor package that Chainsaw was running through that fight. You can see some excellent shots on the bottom of Chainsaw Kitty. You don't see that very often. And then when it really dialed in, Chainsaw was able to just keep pummeling its opponent with these calculated shots.
This is what separates these veteran teams from the newer teams, is as the fight wears on, as the day wears on, in the back half of the fight, they're still going strong and the rookie teams are a little bit weaker. Let's throw it up to Richard in the pits and see who he's got for us.
That's right, guys. I am here once again with the Vasquez brothers and Little Lash. Long time no see, guys. So let's just point out the obvious. You had a great prelims run and qualifying all morning long, and then your path to the finals, not a single fight. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. When there's only 8 robots and, 2 can't make it, then that shoots you to the finals. I don't know what to say. I mean, I was bummed we didn't get the first one, and I'm even more bummed we didn't get this fight. Emperor is terrifying. You saw what they did the previous match. So I was scared, but really excited. So when I saw the smoke pop out, I was just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, we get another bye. So, no, we're here to fight robots. I'd kind of rather fight and lose than just, not fight at all. But we're in the finals, so that's cool. And we fought Anxiety before, so we kind of know what to expect.
Well, yeah, your opponent is a bot that I think sums up everyone's feelings on the 30-pound bracket right now, and that's Anxiety. So what do we got to change? What do you got to fix?
We don't have to fix anything. We were prepared a long time ago for our first match, and those are 3 horizontals lined up, so we don't have to change anything between those 3 robots. We made some improvements after the first time we fought Anxiety, some little simple things that I think might go a long way, we'll see. But we haven't run it in a minute, so everything should be fine. We're going to put it in the test box, because that would be real sad if we had 2 buys and then go and something doesn't work right. So we're going to drive it in the test box, make sure everything's perfect, and we're going to show up and fight. I don't know.
Are you a little relieved that you're in the finals and haven't had to really test the bot in prime time?
Not really relieved. Relieved isn't the right word. I'm happy to be in the finals. That's always cool. But, yeah, I don't know. Anxiety's a hard match. We fought him once. We barely won. And it's a coin toss, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, you've had a great run, too, today with your 0-0 bot. But what's it like watching, the bro go at it?
I mean, yeah, I want nothing more than for him to take it all the way. I mean, I've been on Team Whiplash since I was probably 13 or something. We are brothers after all. So, I mean, I've worked on this design, whether it be on BattleBots or here, and it's just great to see it succeed.
All right, so there you have it. Little Lash and the Vasquez brothers still ready to go. They will face Anxiety in the 30-pound championship. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Richard.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a path for those guys. You come all the way out from California, you want to get into some fights, and they just haven't been in any for a minute. They had some earlier in the day. One of them just happened to be their next opponent.
Yeah. So they're ready, prepared mentally. Obviously, their robot's ready because they haven't had to change much, but we are just waiting on a judge's decision, and can't wait to...
That should be coming in shortly, yeah.
Here it is. Chainsaw Kitty easily defeating Strike Point. 13, 12, and 14 points across the board.
No surprise that point spread there. Dominant performance from Kazuya Sky. Sleepy Anime Girl Club securing their spot in the finals for this event and a chance at that golden dumpster.
Ooh. That's a big deal.
That's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal.
Kazuya has been dumpsterless the whole time she's been fighting here at NHRL.
Very close many times, but never actually brought home the gold. Excited to see how that goes this time around. They could be going up against either Caldera or Bean Supreme Refried.
Now, if you were Kazuya, who would you rather go up against?
Speaking of which, let's go into that next fight.
All right.
Let's meet our competitors. So first up, it's Rozzy Strano and Bean Supreme. Wedge-style lifter bot, beautifully driven by Rozzy. And you know what? The crowd loves them because they're handing out the beans, baby. That's right. And they're going up against, from Team 2 Hot to Handle, it's Glenn Boxel and Caldera.
Glenn has been in this position before. He knows how to fight Caldera. He's got a zillion of them, and he's been in that many fights as well. Wedges are tough for horizontals though, so I'm excited to see what happens here, and we are gonna go right to the play-by-play booth with Ricky and Adam. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. This is gonna be another great fight. Wedge versus horizontal, tale as old as time. What do you make of it, Adam?
Well, Bean Supreme has been winning fights, but Caldera has been looking really strong. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. Bean Supreme, coming from Razi Strano out of Southbury, Connecticut, is a lifter and 10-3. It can lift 5 pounds. It'll only need to lift 3 here as it goes against Caldera from Glenn Boxall out of Marlborough, Mass. It's a horizontal spinner. He is 76-40. Talk about a difference in experience here. 2.25 inches of reach, but that's not the whole story. This is a horizontal spinner that does not quit and has a ton of power.
This is a robot that has won twice as many matches as it's lost, roughly, and has lost more matches than most robots here will ever fight. So you talk about experience, it's hard to get higher than Glenn Boxall and Caldera.
But he doesn't have beans.
That's true. No beans, no magic beans. Maybe he'll take home some magic beans after this fight.
Bean Supreme is, a funky sort of flipper here. Kind of just hinges the middle of the chassis up.
So far, the geometry on Bean Supreme doing really well. You get concerned sometimes with these plastic wedges that, speak of the devil. You get concerned with these plastic wedges that they're either going to crack or that they're going to dig in. The weapon's going to dig into the plastic. So far, that hasn't happened, but Bean Supreme has lost drive on its left-hand side already.
Yeah, today we've been seeing some impressive plastic wedges in the 12 and 3 pound class, but it seems like Bean Supreme is on their heels here. They're not looking too good, just spinning in place as Caldera is slowly tearing them apart. Oh, Caldera's got to watch out here from the wall.
One good stick in the wall, and their game changes very quickly.
Big horizontals have a habit of getting stuck in the wood sidewalls here, and that can be very difficult for the house robots to unstick, as Team Supreme is now just sort of flapping their way around the arena.
Yeah, really interesting that they're able to use their weapon to aid their mobility like that.
It's sort of like a taunt. I'm over here.
Yeah, the weapon flap seems like it's getting looser and looser, but that could be an illusion. Oh, an excellent pin from Bean Supreme on Caldera, showing some good control.
They release it there. Of course, you can only hold the pin for 10 seconds.
Getting a couple of flips in as well. That's something to be said for that for sure. The weapon now off on Caldera. We'll see if it pops back to life.
Yeah,
they've had so many instances today where Caldera's weapon has gone down and then come back, but not this. Oh, there's a twitch.
Ooh, twitching? Not
good. Normally we see Caldera's weapon come back within 10 seconds, and this is far longer. These short movements kind of reveal something bigger is afoot.
And there's still 40 seconds left in this fight, anyone's ball game, especially if that weapon doesn't spin back up.
Yeah, that weapon has some kind of drag, some kind of resistance on it. I'm guessing it's a bearing problem.
Oh boy, yeah, there you can almost see each phase of the motor as it tries to inch its way around.
Yeah, it is struggling for
Supreme,
sure.
Though, really can't get any forward movement. It's just reliant on Caldera to come towards them, and that's not going to look good for the judges.
No, I think we would have to say that the drive is... Well, here's the drive on Caldera also struggling? No, it's not. They were just biding their time, being a little careful.
Both robots make it to the bell with significant issues, but Caldera able to drive to the door while Bean Supreme just sort of flaps in the corner.
Really interesting. I think this is in part going to come down to whether Glenn can spin that weapon up for the judges. That would be a big difference in damage to go from a partially functioning weapon to a fully disabled weapon.
at the end of these fights going to the judges, we do these function tests. You don't always see them on stream. The judges will see them, and that'll help them determine the damage score. Let's take a look at the replays. Right off the bat, both robots working great. And then very quickly, Being Supreme's drive went out on one side. Caldera being a bit conservative in how they attacked Being Supreme and then losing their weapon. Everyone happy at the end of the fight. We'll see what the judges have to say, but back to the desk with Sam and Kyle.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So judges' decision deciding who goes into the final for the 3-pound bracket to face off against Kazuya Sky and Chainsaw Kitty. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out the 12-pound bracket, which we'll be moving into next.
All right, we see Void has made it to this round by defeating Michael. Minan and Plusle are here after defeating Torrent. Budget Boy has beat Robocat, and Cherry beat Flashbang. So Void versus Minan and Plusle. Budget Boy versus Cherry. We've got MIT, we've got Georgia Tech, we've got
Team Defective.
Team Defective.
I like the fact that the top of the bracket is all hub motor spinners.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Team Defective hub motor spinners, I might add. Very interested to see how that matchup turns out. And by the way, I love the fact that it's going to be a Team Defective in the final no matter what you do.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed Team Defective in the final of the 12-pound division. That team is really trying their best to take over the 12-pound weight class as we see it. Hey, there's our hype team. What's up, Dom and Red?
We got Red Sawyer and Dom Perignon, the best hype crew in the world, Kyle.
Absolutely. You gotta have them. They're here to keep our audience entertained in between these fights and keep the energy high. Both of them really quality people, too.
Yeah, from different worlds that come together here at NHRL, where we bring so many people from all different walks of life. It really doesn't matter if you're a mailman or a surgeon or whatever. You can come here and be you and find your people, and it's really special.
We are very close to a judge's decision in that last matchup. Very curious to see how that ends up before we move into the 12-pound bracket. But 12 pounds is the last weight class that we have to go to before we now have our final set for all three. Just as a reminder, in the 30-pound weight class, we're going to see Anxiety taking on Little Lash.
All right, let's check out Anxiety up in the pits right now, and there's some anxiousness going on.
Yeah, living up to their names, this Robo Jackets team trying to get everything together to go up against Little Lash. Little Lash, well accustomed to taking on horizontal spinners, well accustomed to dominating those fights with aggression and control points. Let's see how it goes. I gotta give it to the Vasquez brothers. Slight advantage here, but these guys, they're doing everything they can to get ready for that matchup.
But are the Vasquezes going to be coming in cold, having not had any fights in primetime so far?
Very true. And a bot they've really only fought at one other tournament before this one. Not a whole lot of stick time on that
You
bot.
can see them in the background, kind of just hanging out.
Yep.
As the full Anxiety team is scrambling.
I mean, they may as well just go help the Robo Jacket kids right now. They got nothing else to do.
Yeah, they want to get a fight in.
That would be so funny if they just came up and were like, we need to check your connections, okay? We're just going to do a little QC.
Yeah.
Make sure you're working. All right, so this just in, ladies and gentlemen, your judges' decision from that last matchup. And your winner by unanimous decision, Team Too Hot to Handle's Glenn Boxall and Caldera.
Oh, Kyle. So this means the the final for the 3-pound class is going to be Caldera and Chainsaw Kitty.
The last time these two bots fought was back in 2023 in August, and Chainsaw Kitty came out on top. We cannot wait to see that rematch going into the 3-pound finals. But in the meantime, 12-pound bracket, let's meet our competitors. First up, from Team MIT, it's Ryan Duarte and Budget Boy. The only lifter left in the competition cannot keep up with these high-powered vertical spinners. And they will be facing Team Robo Jackets, Alexander King and Cherry.
Is it going to be a cherry on top of a great day, or is it going to cherry bomb, Kyle?
It's going to be a cherry on top of the house bot. These bots are getting turned into a hat. I can say it right now. Let's go to our friends in the booth to call this fight.
Wow. What a fight we've got here. Budget Boy from Ryan Duarte out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and MIT. It is a flipper. It is 7-4. The total cost, $750. Going up against Cherry from Alexander King in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a drum spinner. It's 4-0, and it spins at 230 miles an hour. How is the budget build going to be able to hold up to that? A great robot, a great story, trying to make combat robotics more accessible to those who can't afford custom machined everything. Most of it's 3D printed on an Ender 3.
Yeah, you got to remember too, $750, I think, as I understand it, that includes the remote control, which you're going to use over and over and over again. That includes the switches, which aren't something that you generally break out. You know, some of these robots are spending $750 a fight at this point.
Yeah,
so that's an
impressive.
accomplishment.
Yeah, it's almost entirely the electronics cost. If you got some cheaper motors, it would drive down the price drastically. Been performing really well here today. Cherry also, I mean, obviously we're getting into the semifinals. Both robots have been performing well, but this is quite the matchup. Classic lifter versus drum matchup. A real driving battle here for both teams. And this is Budget Boy's biggest test of the day so far.
2, 1.
Fight, robots,
and away
fight.
we go. Cherry off to a quick start. Budget Boy a little more reserved. Budget Boy doing an excellent job controlling this match right off the bat. We've seen this today from Cherry. They're a little spastic. They're a little all over. Budget Boy's going to take advantage of that as absolutely...
Budget Boy earlier today was holding these pins, and then right when they needed to release was launching their flipper. There you can see it. It's a real interesting way to hold the spinners. Sometimes you can kind of pop them into the wall or the floor, which is working really well for them earlier today and worked really well for them there.
Yeah, we'll see. It depends on the geometry of your opponent, but so far it seems like a good idea against Cherry.
I like how Budget Boy flips, you know, it's just a little boop.
And it's different depending on the module that they use. Their flipper, even though it's powered by the same mechanism, can act very differently depending on what accoutrements they put on the front of it. That's my word for the day, isn't it?
That is not what Budget Boy wants there. Getting some juicy shots from Cherry. Both robots driving well here. Cherry driving well, trying to avoid the forks. Getting some big pops here now as the fight goes on. We're about halfway through this, and Budget Boy is moving a lot slower here than earlier. Doesn't look like it's sitting flat on the ground either.
Budget Boy is, I think, doing a pretty good job, really about as well as it can do, but that weapon on Cherry can really dish out some damage.
There's a lot of power in that weapon on Cherry. And you can see when it lands like that how far Budget Boy goes flying. Credit to them, they're still working. Although, ooh, the flipper arm might be stuck in the extended position. And that's not good because it extends downward as well. That means they're not really going to be able to drive if they can't pop that back.
No, they can, though. They can. It's sad, but it's not broken.
I wonder if they'll be hesitant to fire it again after how long it took to get back in place.
Potentially, but they're not going to have a choice. They need to get back.
Definitely something is wrong with that flipper as we have 40 seconds left in this fight. Cherry taking advantage. Budget Boy moving slower and slower as this fight goes on. Cherry getting some big pops. Unable to deliver a massive hit. We're not seeing wheels come off, but Budget Boy going flying over and over again.
Coming on the last 30 seconds, Budget Boy regaining some of the control that it lost there over the last minute.
Yeah. Good end to this fight here by Budget Boy, showing aggression, showing control. And Cherry not able to really land. Oh, there's one.
There's one, but not enough. Quick recovery from Budget Boy as this goes to the end of the match. You're going to have a judge's decision for this semifinal.
Budget Boy ends up on their back as they flip over right as the buzzer there. But a back and forth fight. There were moments where it was all Cherry. There were moments where it was all Budget Boy. And I don't think that's going to be an easy one for the judges to discuss. Both teams happy with their performance.
Yeah, I think both teams really drove well there today. It reveals just how unstable Cherry is, and Budget Boy was a good robot to take advantage of that. On the flip side, the weapon on Cherry just so punishing.
Yep.
Even taking blows in the way that you want to take them most is still going to do damage. Let's see some of that in the replay as we go to the board. Yeah, you can see these like very calculated engagements from Budget Boy on Cherry. And even then, sometimes Cherry catches some engagement and launches Budget Boy into the air. Very back and forth match. Excellent driving from both competitors. We're going to have to see what the judges have to say.
Georgia Tech versus MIT. Who is going to be moving on to the finals? Let's throw it back to the desk and hear from Kyle and Sam.
You got to give all the credit in the world to Ryan Duarte and his team. That was an amazing performance against an insane onslaught. A story we've been telling about them pretty much all day. Just taking those big hits, tanking it, keeping on and going, and launching people with that weapon all day long. But man, that was relentless what they had to go through there.
Yeah, when you don't have a big spin-in weapon, you have to be able to take the hits because pretty much everyone else has the weapon. And that is a path to victory in itself, where spinning weapons tend to break themselves, and if you can tank the hits, it's good for you. Unfortunately for them, Cherry was not going to break themselves in that fight.
No, the weapon on Budget Boy ended up being a liability as time went on, and it was not firing correctly. That kind of shot under the bot whenever they were launching it. It was a little unfortunate. How does that even happen?
That just depends on the style of flipper. So some of them will push against the ground to lift most of the robot up, and if that's the case, then if your flipper is stuck in the open position, like we just saw with Budget Boy, you're kind of in a tough situation.
Yeah, bit of a pickle, as it were.
But that MIT Georgia Tech rivalry is cool, and I would love to just encourage it as much as possible and just see who ends up on top at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. The MIT team, they took a big, long break due to the COVID pandemic. This team now is basically all new. There's nobody left of the original MIT Combat Robotics team. They have built this up from scratch to be a top-notch competitor here at NHRL. Really amazing robots that they've put together. But it is not the same pedigree of team that we saw that team members like Jameson Go or Charles Wynn came from. This is all new. None of that original knowledge was really left behind.
That's kind of the nature of a school team, though, as people become freshmen and then on to seniors, and then they graduate, and then new people come in.
Right, but you have like a passing down of the knowledge that they just lost, for that time period. So it's amazing that these engineers were able to develop such a fantastic team in such a short period of time. The Robo Jackets, they've been at this for a while. They've got a really experienced combat robotics team. Only gotten better since they started participating here at NHRL. Their bots are absolutely incredible.
Well, fighting robots is kind of a combination between knowledge and resources. And even if the institution doesn't retain that knowledge, it's all online. And the communities are there and excited to get new people into the sport. So if you're interested in getting into the sport, then check out the NHRL website. It's a great place to start out.
Amen. All right, let's check out the judge's decision just coming in now. Your winner, no surprise there, the hard-hitting Cherry Robo Jackets. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They will be moving on into the final matchup. Congratulations to that team. They'll be facing off against either Void or Minan and Plusle.
All right, well, it's time to meet our next fighters.
Up first, from Team Defective, it's Trevor Summer and the Void. Void is a specialized hub motor version of the very popular Prom Heta
designed by Zach Knight. This one operated and driven by Trevor Summer. They will be fighting fellow Team Defective teammates. Matt Luther, Zoe Lambert, Minan, and Plusle. That's right, it is all hub motor spinners in this matchup. Minan and Plusle with their tank treads. Team Defective is just on a tear recruiting top talent in the sport.
And it looks like they've got a ringer fighting in Jaron Leapson, but let's go to the booth.
Thank you, Sam. I am excited for this matchup. So much hub motor packed into such a small place. Void, again, from Trevor Summer, coming from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This vertical spinner is nasty. A 12-5 record with 8 of those being knockouts. Very impressive robot. Going up against Minan and Plusle, the 50-50 multi-bot. Matt Luther and Zoe Lambert coming from a combination of Derry, Pennsylvania and Hollywood, Maryland. They're bringing a multi-bot with some serious firepower, ×2.
Yep. Now, the last fight out, Void was moving, a little slow, and they're going to have to watch out if that happens against Minan and Plusle, because with 2 robots, they can take advantage of any sort of poor maneuverability. Now, of course, Minan and Plusle, they're multi-bot. Together, they get a weight bonus. They weigh more than Void. Individually, each one weighs less. If Void wants a knockout, they're going to have to knock out both halves of Minan and Plusle here.
Yeah, 4, you have to knock out the majority, which means more than half.
Fight, robots, fight.
Away we go. Slow start from Plusle. Sorry, from Minan.
Oh,
wow! Going
shot.
Flying.
You can really see the weight difference there as Void didn't even barely bunch.
Yeah, that robot stays planted. That's part of the Crom-Heda design ethos. But you can see now Minan and Plusle getting their footing. They're going to try to come from the sides, confuse their opponent, overwhelm them, and they've been able to do that consistently throughout the day. Will they be able to pull it off against Zach Knight? That's the question.
Void's showing some impressive control here early on, not letting Minan and Plusle get around them.
Dramatically better mobility as well.
Yeah, we've seen today, Minan and Plusle sending each other flying there.
Almost friendly
do it
fire.
again. Now, we've seen them work well today when they worked as a team, and I'm not seeing that teamwork here.
There's an instance of it, but very brief.
The chat here really close on who they think is going to win. 51% for Minan and Plusle, 48% for Void. Void seemingly getting the better of the first half of this fight. We'll see if they can keep it up for the second half. Minan and Plusle not letting up.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see these kind of lock points. Wow!
Rolling across the floor, and that's a belt rolling across the floor. And that's not good,
and
because
that's the entire guts of Minan, despite the fact it's still driving.
Tap out.
We have a tap. Wow! Zach Knight looking thrilled there.
Both halves of Minan and Plusle got destroyed in the span of about 15 seconds.
If that. Wow!
Void showing their power, showing their weight advantage as they went up on each robot individually. Minan and Plusle unable to get that teamwork going that we saw earlier in the day. Void really dialing their mobility in. Void is going to go into the finals after an impressive victory.
There's interesting. There is confusion. Let's see if we can listen in. This is really interesting. Our official readout here in our booth is showing Minan and Plusle won that fight. Perhaps that there was a incidental tap out before we realized that Minan and Plusle had been disemboweled. we're going to have to figure out what's going on.
It would be very odd for Void to tap out on purpose. However, that is a touch screen. I don't know if someone would have bumped into it.
We're going to have to figure this out. I do see on the touchscreen, it does say tap out. And it's possible that something bad happened to Void and they tapped out immediately before realizing that Minan and Plusle had their goose cooked. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be something, as, I mean, they drove back to the door here.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out.
We were done. We told them.
Interesting.
Give them the win.
Did he hit blue into the tap out button?
So we're hearing possibly a mistaken tap out due to the force of the hit. Someone might have just, you know, tried to catch themselves and bumped it.
That could have happened, or it could be that the arena just took such a big hit.
It could be that too.
That something, you know, glitched.
Yeah, just a glitch. Somehow the tap out button has gotten hit. We don't know if somebody hit it. We don't know if it was an arena glitch. It doesn't seem like it was on purpose, and maybe we're going to get to continue this fight. I thought both halves of Minan and Plusle were disabled, but it does look like one half is still there. It seems like they want to keep going. I don't know if we can check the tape and see if someone hit it. Yeah, we're going to look at a replay here. I think we have tape of what happened. Yeah, so we can see the tap out button on footage.
Yeah, no one is near it, at least on the side.
I wonder, did the camera person bump it?
It's possible. No team member, though.
Yeah, so no team member was within reach.
At least on Void was within reach. We're looking at the replay footage very closely. We take this very seriously. Yeah. Even if you hit it, you know, I don't want to say by mistake, but even if...
A camera operator seems to have nicked it with their elbow.
Wow. I don't think we've ever had something like that happen before.
Yeah, that is that's something. I guess the tap out button is the actual physical button, right? The red one?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not the touch screen.
Well, you can also do it on the touch screen.
You can, but the red one would do it. So
the red one, that's the easier one.
That would make it a lot easier for someone to accidentally bump it as they're walking by.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that seems to explain it, and I think we're going to get the rest of this fight. Glad we were able to clear that up on the footage there. So many camera angles. One's going to show it.
Wow. I don't think we've ever had anything like that happen before. And we've done how many thousand fights here? Incredible. We're going to go back to the desk, see if they had a good view of this. Maybe they got to see the whole thing play out. Guys?
No, we do have like a perfect view of that spot, but we were not watching that. We were watching all of the destruction that Void was raining down in the box at that time. I mean, it was just glorious. Disembowelment followed by a complete roofing of another bot. Why would I be watching a button when that's all going on?
And especially, no one expected a tap out from the Void side.
Why would you be pushing that button while you are eviscerating and then roofing another bot? No, you wouldn't be doing that. This clearly is an error of some sort. My guess is the cameraman bumped into it.
Well, I mean, I think they reviewed the tape, and that's sure what it seemed like. That's what we thought based on the footage from the cameraman himself who tapped out.
Yeah, well, the cameraman's not allowed to tap out. He's not on the team. Okay, so we'll have to see what that ends up happening with this. We've had, what, over 1,000 fights here. Nothing like that has ever happened before. Yeah, that was crazy.
No, and what is going to happen now? Are they going to restart the fight? I thought I heard at one point Zoe saying to the Void team that they were done. And that makes sense based on what I see on the floor of the cage.
Right, you've qualified for the World Championships. You don't want any more of that. All right, now we have updated information from the booth.
All right.
Okay, so officially, even with the confusion, Minan and Plusle have stated that they were on the verge of tapping out anyway, so therefore have given up the match, and the winner officially is Void. Trevor Summer qualifying for the final. Team Defective, no matter what, wins. So congratulations to Trevor Summer. Congratulations to Zach Knight.
And thank you to both sides of the arena for being cordial. I know that's a weird event that happened, and
you got to make sure you handle that correctly. You have to make sure that you handle it with the proper footage reviewed. No funny business, right? We got to make sure everything is by the book as best as we possibly can be when a random event like that occurs.
And in the future, if our camera people do want to tap out, they can just let someone know on their radios, and the buttons don't do anything for you. The buttons are for the robots in the cage.
That's absolutely correct. That was despite all the insanity at the end, that was probably the best match we've seen in the final so far.
Yeah.
Right? That was absolute chaos.
That match popped off.
That was so much fun. That is absolutely true what our friends in the booth said. Without the teamwork aspect, Minan and Plusle just didn't have a chance in that round. They couldn't pull it out. They needed those side shots. They needed those hits. They could really only hold that front to front for so long.
Yeah, like a split second before one of them went flying. The other would try the same thing head to head, and just...
There was more friendly fire between Minan and Plusle than we see normally in their matches, and that was a matchup they had to drive perfectly. They didn't, and this is the result. A disembowelment and a roofing.
Well, so that sets our 12-pound final.
That does set our 12-pound final. We will be seeing Cherry by Alexander King and the Robo Jackets going on. So here we go. This is the 12-pound bracket as it stands down at the bottom. Cherry, they went through Flashbang and Budget Void to get here to this final. And up at the top, we've got Void. They went through Michael and Minan and Plusle to make it to the finals. That's Trevor Summer, Team Defective, going up against Alexander King and the Robo Jackets. Void versus Cherry. That match is coming up. But in the meantime, we do have a 30-pound final and a 3-pound final coming your way. 30-pound final is looking vicious. It's Little Lash taking on Anxiety. But that 3-pound final is something I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, yeah. All right, up next is the 30-pound fight. So let's take a look at this bracket. Anxiety made it by going through Ghoul and defeating Allen.
Now, that was a pass on Ghoul. They did.
Oh, right. Ghoul forfeited. Excuse me.
The only match either of these bots fought in the actual prime time was Anxiety versus Allen. A true banger of a match.
Yeah, that was a nice fight. Little Lash, they won by forfeit to Kratos, and then they won by forfeit to Emperor, and now let's hope for a real fight for this 30-pound final.
All right, let's go ahead and meet our 30-pound contenders. First and foremost, that's right, Team Robo Jackets, Evan, Strakes, and Anxiety. Love this robot. Big angled wedge design, huge horizontal undercutter spinner, and those forks just give it so many options in the box.
Yeah, I think those forks are really going to come into play in this fight.
And then from Team Whiplash, it's Matt Vasquez and Little Lash. This bot comes all the way from California. They are ready to take on any horizontal that actually works in the box.
And here they are, Matty and Jason Vasquez with Little Lash. Still no spinner on there in their full horizontal config. We are going to go to the play-by-play booth to call this fight.
Thank you, Sam. So excited to see Little Lash finally go up against a horizontal spinner that has been having a great day.
Don't jinx it.
Well, that's why I said I didn't say a horizontal spinner that's going to work immediately. I said one that's been having a great day, and it has. Evan Strakes has brought Anxiety up from Atlanta, Georgia. This undercutter, had a debut in March of 2023 and has a almost 50-50 record of 10-9. They're going up against Matt Vasquez's Little Lash from Newbury Park, California. This lifter is new as of today, and it is undefeated. It has done a great job just sailing through its fights, and it honestly is built to take on robots like Anxiety. It's going to be a great test of Anxiety's literal mettle.
Little Lash's weapon listed as a lifter. However, tonight they've been having a lot of effect out of some sort of black magic curse they've been setting on their opponents. But let's hope Anxiety has the cure for that, as we are in for a treat of a 30-pound final. Whatever happens, whoever wins, we are going to have a new winner tonight for the 30-pound golden dumpster, as neither of these teams has won one.
Yeah, this is a robot matchup.
No.
Oh, no.
Anxiety has lost a drive side. They're still making their way to the corner. They're not forfeiting.
I see just piles of material
the Vasquez
being
brothers
sprayed.
are smiling.
I mean, at least they're going to get a fight. But goodness, I'm sure the weapon's going to spin up. But maybe I shouldn't even say that. I'm
gonna just gotta.
I'll lay off that. Yeah, we're getting all kinds of info from the sidelines. For a robot that has been this bulletproof all day, this kind of technical issue is stunning.
3, 2, 1.
Fight.
Away we
Robots
go.
fight.
They're quickly spinning up to speed, but they are having drive issues.
Now they do have a very low set of forks there. Little Lash is going to have trouble getting under that with that wedge. But they can get around the side due to the decreased mobility of Anxiety and bring that giant wedge to bear on the horizontal spinner.
Ooh. It does look like that drive side is getting a little bit of mobility. It's not entirely down, but no, it's stuck against the wall.
They're going to leave this for an unstick, I would think.
It looks like that weapon might be able to help shake it free, but it doesn't seem to be able to use it that way.
There's the call for the unstick. That'll stop the count out. Little Lash blocking the house robot, but the 300-pound Fluffy able to shove them out of the way.
Yeah, but look what they did. It was really strategic. They positioned themselves so that after the unstick, they would be able to go immediately into a pin.
Are they pinning purposefully? No,
I believe so.
No, they're flicking
stuck.
the sticks, and nothing is happening here. Little Lash.
Wow,
pushed out
what
of
an
the
upset
way,
that would be.
And now they are unable to move. I think they're frantically restarting the controller here.
Hoping for the best.
What has happened? They're getting counted out, and that's not going to be enough time to reset.
No.
They're requesting an unstick. They have not officially used the unstick. Will that be enough time to reset whatever is happening on this controller?
I doubt it.
That was fully functional.
Wow, I don't know if Anxiety just clipped something or if...
Trying the old off and on, but it's tough. Do they need to hold the stick steady and get a reset on the arming sequence?
Anxiety's going into its victory dance there a moment.
Heartbreaking twist of fate for Little Lash here.
You know, my great-grandmother always used to say, what goes around comes around, and when you sail through a couple of strange circumstances to have your place at the Golden Dumpster, fate might just pull that right back away from you.
I mean, you gotta feel bad for Little Lash and Team Fast Electric Robots here, because they didn't get any fights to really dial that in over the night. I mean, there's still smiles. Congrats to Anxiety. They're going to take home the Golden Dumpster. coming out and outlasting Little Lash. It looked like it was Little Lash's fight to lose.
Now, this is the second robot that has qualified this year from the Robo Jackets team. Chunky qualified earlier, so we're going to have multiple robots with Roman numerals tacked onto the end of their name. You can see here, this was all Little Lash over and over again until something just went wrong.
You know, usually when something like that happens, it's something in the radio system when the whole robot goes out, or it could be the power switch if it's all controlled by one switch. One of those two things, heartbreaking way to lose when you're winning the fight and then it just stops. I think everyone in Combat Robots has had that happen, and it's just so annoying. But we're going to hop back to the desk. Congrats to Anxiety on the win. How you feeling, Sam and Kyle?
Oh, well, I'm feeling all right about that one. I definitely put my head in my hands when Little Lash stopped moving. But, big ups to the Anxiety team and to Georgia Tech and the Robo Jackets. They've been doing well in 30-pounders this year so far, having won with Chonkiv already. Whew. But a tough one for the Vasquez brothers. Just tough in general. Coming in cold to a fight, to a big fight like the finals. It can't be easy. All right, but we are going to go to Kyle right now, who is cage side with the winner.
That's right. I am standing by here with Evan Strakes of Team Robo Jackets. I've got to ask, what does it feel like to beat the Vasquez brothers?
I have no words. It just goes to show you that anything in 30s can happen.
Absolutely. Anything in 30s can happen. The Robo Jackets are having a banner year so far with Chonky and now Anxiety. If you've got to face them in the finals, can you take Chonky?
I mean, I got some plans for them, but, you know, I'll give it my best shot.
Well, let me tell you, go ahead and hand your robot over to your friend right now. I got something else that needs to go into your hands, sir. There is only one thing left to do, and that is to hand you this 30-pound golden dumpster. Hold it high!
All right, this is not the last that we are going to see of the Robo Jackets tonight. They are also in the 12-pound final with Cherry. That's going to come up in a little bit, but up next we're going to have the 3-pound final where it's all coming down to Chainsaw Kitty and Caldera. Both different approaches to the sport, but let's take a look at the 3-pound bracket and how we got this far. Chainsaw Kitty defeated Sir Slicey at the top of the top 8, and then went on to beat Strike Point. And Caldera has been on a tear, defeating Usagi up first, and then Bean Supreme refried the big wedge. And now, here they are at the top of the bracket. A classic match, horizontal versus vertical. An veteran of the sport in Caldera with over 100 matches under his belt with just Caldera. Chainsaw Kitty has come close to getting that dumpster, but not quite there yet. But this could be her night.
The last time these two bots faced was back in August of 2023. It was a knockdown drag-out fight, but at the end of the day, Chainsaw Kitty won the match. I can't wait to see this rematch. I cannot wait to see this final.
Chainsaw Kitty was pretty new when they fought the first time. That was a long time ago. She's iterated the bot a bunch, learned a lot, made it better, adapted to the no mini-bots.
Absolutely. Caldera also has never really needed the mini-bots. Used it a couple of times, but that's never been something that was a crutch of theirs or part of their design implementation.
More like a way to drive with your son.
That's exactly right. A little family affair over there. But Glenn is all out on his own now. He is no longer really even relying on his son to get that bot up and running. He is just a machine with that bot. Can't wait to see what this new version of Chainsaw Kitty and new version of Caldera do. So first up, representing Sleepy Anime Girl Club, it's Keziah Sky and Chainsaw Kitty! Is this the most vicious version of Chainsaw Kitty we've ever seen?
I think so. There she is. Chainsaw Kitty just screams sharp to me. It's just pointy, it's sharp, it's bladed, it's everything you want.
And they'll be facing off from Team Too Hot to Handle. It's Glenn Boxall and Caldera. I love this robot. I love Glenn's attitude. He drives it so methodically. There is not a bit of panic in the way this guy controls his robot. These competitors have a lot of respect for each other. Let's go to our friends in the booth. Adam and Ricky, call this 3-pound final for us, guys.
I couldn't be more excited to call this 3-pound final. Two of the biggest hitters. We've got Chainsaw Kitty from Keziah Sky coming up from Havre de Grace, Maryland. 36-13 record, 30 KOs. That is terrifying. One head-to-head win against Caldera in the past. Caldera, of course, driven by Glenn Boxall from Marlborough, Massachusetts, a 77-40 record, more fights than most people get in a lifetime, with a staggering 45 KOs. However, not one of those 45 KOs has been up against Chainsaw Kitty.
Look at that KO ratio of Chainsaw Kitty. When they win, it is by KO. Just a reminder for everyone watching, don't forget to turn on 4K on your stream because you want to see every detail of this fight.
You are so right, Adam. I think, especially when you get into these fights, some of the little damage pieces that you can see can reveal so much about how a fight is going to go and how it does go at the end of the match.
What a matchup this is going to be. Both robots have been at the top of their game. Both drivers at the top of their game today. They are excited. I am excited. We are in for some big hits. Classic horizontal versus
5,
vertical.
4.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots,
Away
fight.
we go. We'll see if those wedges on Chainsaw. Yeah! Oh my God! Right off the bat.
Chainsaw Kitty getting the better of the early engagements here. Caldera having no answer.
The carbon fiber on the A-frame on the underside of Caldera is already breaking apart.
Chainsaw Kitty able to self-right.
We saw a very reserved Keziah earlier in the day. This is a little more aggression. This is a little more what we're used to.
They're not letting up as they are going full aggression. The only moment they stop is when they need to self-right.
stuck in the corner. I think Chainsaw Kitty's gonna go in. Yes, for a massive, massive hit.
Waited for the unstick call and then just demolishes the underside. Now Chainsaw Kitty having a bit of trouble self-righting. You can see one of their ears looks a bit bent.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It's a good 4K catch right there.
It doesn't matter when they're sending Caldera into the ceiling though.
Yeah, this is where Chainsaw Kitty could be a little more reserved, or they could continue to go full violence. Both are valid strategies.
So they're coming in during these hectic periods. That's when Kitty is most vulnerable, but they're still at 100%.
And there's the belt gone on the weapon of Caldera. Chainsaw Kitty can disassemble their foe at their leisure.
Oh, and they're stuck, and that could be it. Caldera has already used their unstick. Chainsaw Kitty just needs to wait for the countdown as Glenn salutes his opponent from across the arena.
Absolutely brutal. For a sport with no bloodshed, the violence is on full display in this match. Let's take a listen.
What a moment at the end there.
Emotions are high. This is one of those times when you're just floating and things happen to you. You get guided through the process by the people closest to you. What a wonderful thing to witness.
Great fight, great back and forth battle. The belt falls off Caldera. They can't self-right. They get stuck on the wall. Kazuya, non-stop aggression, able to maintain control even during the self-righting, even with that ear on top bent a little bit. They earned this one today. Came out quite a performance. The crowd letting them know their appreciation.
You'd have to be crazy not to appreciate a fight like that and a competitor like Kazuya.
I got tears in my eyes. What a fight.
Couldn't be better earned. We're going to go into some replays. Maybe that'll help me shake some of these goosebumps. Even the crowd just pouring with emotion. Here you go. You can see some of these tremendous hits that just propelled Kazuya to the top of the Golden Dumpster list. And then that moment of congratulations, the pride and the joy and the emotions on full display.
I just can't believe someone started chopping all these onions at this point.
Just incredible. Sam, take it away before we get all misty-eyed over here.
I don't know if I can help with that. I'm feeling the same way. When you work so hard at something and you want it so bad and you've tried many times before, you just can't help to be overwhelmed with those emotions, and those emotions are infectious. Everyone was feeling it in the stands, and just big ups to Kazuya Sky, big ups to Glenn Boxall for being an amazing competitor and humble in defeat. It was just truly all that you could hope for in a 3-pound final here at NHRL. Just amazing, and really, I'm at a loss for words. I'm just feeling it. All right, Kyle, go ahead. You know what to do.
All right, so Kazuya, normally this is the part where I'd ask you a couple of questions to see how you feel.
I can answer questions.
Okay.
Let me take a couple breaths.
Kazuya, you have worked so hard for this. I am so proud of you. There is only one thing left to do. Hold this high, girl. All good, all good. Sorry. This is the first Golden Dumpster that you have won, and I mean that intentionally. This is the first. You have qualified for the World Championships. What's going through your head right now?
The new Kitty's so good. She's everything Kitty needed to be. Every change worked. Every change was perfect. There's almost nothing I want to change from this time. I did it. I made Kitty good. I did it.
You not only made Kitty good, you made Kitty a champion, a Golden Dumpster winner. You're going to the World Championships with a dumpster in hand? Are you making any changes to her, or is she ready?
There are some very small things I want to change, but 99% of the robot's perfect. I changed everything. Almost every single part of this robot is different from the last time it came. I was so scared of all these changes. I was scared if she'd work properly. It's perfect. Everything's perfect.
All right, Kazuya, stand in the center. Hold your dumpster high, girl.
Keziah Sky did it. So amazing. And that just leaves the 12-pounders. It's come down to yet another RoboJackets team in Cherry, and they are going up against Team Defective's Void, and it's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for this big box to get loaded up. And I'm still reeling from that 3-pound fight, but let's check out the 12-pound bracket and see how we got to this point. Void made it up here by defeating Michael in the first round of Primetime, and then Minan and Plusle. Cherry has made it all the way here by defeating Flashbang in the first round and MIT's Budget Boy in the next one. So this is a RoboJackets versus Team Defective fight. Void on Team Defective, Cherry from RoboJackets.
I am so excited for this matchup. 12 pounds is normally our most vicious bracket, the death bracket, we call it. No change in that today. These bots are devastatingly powerful.
You think we're going to see a roof shot, Kyle? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Void looking fantastic today, by the way.
Hard hitting out of nowhere.
Shouldn't have been a surprise. Considering the bot's pedigree, should not have been a surprise, but wow, it just shocked all of us. Such a cool robot.
Absolutely.
All right, well, coming off a really emotional 3-pound final, let's go up to the pitch with our friend Richard.
Hey guys, yeah, emotions have been high, but what has started out as a beehive where one side was buzzing and the primetime area was humming has now slowly emptied out as people get ready for one finals matchup, and that is the 12 pounds. So I'm going to miss everyone here. It's been a fantastic event otherwise. Thank you guys so much for welcoming me. And, you know, it's been a great time. I have loved primetime in the primetime pits, so thank you guys so much. You're all coming to the after party, right? Let's send it back to you guys.
All right, well, we will see you there. It's at the pool on the roof.
We have one of those?
Tell the new guy we do.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Yes, it's over next to the blinker fluid. So, yes, we are now moving on into our 12-pound final. We have seen some amazing matches in that 3-pound final, amazing matches in that 12-pound, or in that 3-pound final and 30-pound final, but now the 12 pounds is right around the corner. Let's meet our finalists. First up, from Team Defective, it's Trevor, Summer, and Void. This is an amazing robot. It's got quite the pedigree, prom head up pedigree, but the driving talent of Trevor Summer, this thing is amazing. And here they are, making their way to the arena. And they'll meet from the RoboJackets, it's Alexander King and Cherry. What a day for the RoboJackets team. 2 bots in the finals, possibly 2 bots walking out of here with a golden dumpster.
Here they are.
This bot has seemed unbeatable all day long. Not a single chink in that armor.
All right, let's send it to the booth. Adam and Ricky, one more for the night.
One more for the night.
That was a tough act to follow, but let's see if these bots are up to it. The 12-pound finals is Void from Trevor Summer. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a vertical spinner at 200 miles an hour with 1 inch of reach, going up against Cherry from Alexander King and Atlanta, Georgia. Georgia Tech, a drum spinner, 230 miles per hour and half an inch of reach. Who's going to get the better of these engagements? We'll see soon enough as the bots are loaded into the corners and ready to go.
This is going to be something else. These are both robots that are just cutting their teeth here at NHRL. We didn't know how these things were going to shake out. In fact, I don't think either of these robots were really on our list at the beginning of the day. To have come this far with this much success is stunning.
We're going to have 3 brand new golden dumpster winners before the night is out. Who is going to take home the 12-pound dumpster?
3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Away we go. A slow start from Cherry and a careful start from Void. Ooh. Cherry winning the first exchange in a way that suggests that weapon to weapon is not going to work for Void.
That extra 30 miles an hour on Cherry seemingly making the difference.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough for Void to overcome.
And then a huge hit. Void gets chucked into the wall and stuck on the arena kick plate. They're able to free themselves, but it's just barely.
Cherry's winning every engagement here. Void has to try a different strategy. Their wedge is toast.
Yeah, there is no way that they're going to be able to go head-to-head here. They need to outdrive their opponent, and right now they can't even outdrive the wall.
Waiting for the unstick call here. As soon as they press it, Cherry going to come in. Oh, they're able to get off, but they avoid it anyway.
Interesting. That is an unfortunate turn of events for Void. You can see that front wedge is just chewed to pieces.
That blue light signal Void called for the unstick after they'd already come off the wall. They're not going to have that. They get stuck again. As Cherry just waiting for another hit.
And they take it. I mean, that was an easy option. Oh, and now the weapon down on Cherry. In fact, Cherry not moving hardly at all.
Now, this is the risk when you come in underneath, probably why they were hesitant. That can be a top shot from the opponent's weapon, and I don't know what got hit there, but Cherry is looking all sorts of messed up.
Yes,
Cherry showing movement.
Barely limping, and Void, of course, looking much worse for wear, but definitely moving better. And definitely having a better functioning weapon at this
Cherry
moment.
requesting an unstick. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. Void showing more movement. They might get the count out here as they flip-flop back and forth.
Yeah, that is a count out for Cherry. We're sailing our way. There it goes, just enough.
Just enough to stop that count, but it's going to... Oh, boy. Just intermittent movement.
These poor referees are being tortured right now.
As Void tried to make their way over for the hit, just can't quite get there.
Cherry, what a tease. This is amazing. And then a rotation.
It's like they're playing games with us, Ricky.
If they just start driving fine at the end of this match, I'm going to take the hat I don't have and take it off my head. This is ridiculous. Look, it's just...
Oh, my goodness.
It's so painfully close.
With 10 seconds left, can anyone get any engagement?
No, I don't think so.
How do you judge this?
This is going to the judges. Your 12-pound...
Oh,
it
boy.
almost just the tiniest nuzzle of an engagement. That will be headed to the judges. Listen, I don't think anyone likes to see two robots limping at the end of the match. That was ridiculous.
That was an exciting limp.
This is the most exciting limping I've ever seen. I'm stunned.
3 very different finals fights tonight, as this one's going to go to the judges, and I really have no idea what's going to happen.
This is something where it's only able to figure things out with proper replay.
Yeah.
Like, you can't... I'm just so enthusiastic about the start-stop action on Cherry. I forgot what happened the rest of the fight.
Cherry completely dominant for the first half. One hit from Void as Cherry came underneath, and then Cherry completely dead, barely intermittent. But then they dropped to the door at the end during the function test.
So it's like intermittent.
Yeah. No weapon, intermittent drive. Void, flip-floppy chassis, drive working somewhat, full function weapon. Cherry had it in the first half.
I don't even know. My level of stunned is so far off the gauge. You know, it pegged past the red and like looped back around. Ridiculous. I can't even explain to you, as someone who works on these robots, what was going on inside of Cherry. Maybe it was heat cycling, but it probably wasn't. I mean, this is strange behavior. I will say this, both of these robots put it all on the table. Just to bring back the human element here, Void did the best they possibly could. They were at a disadvantage just with the construction of the robot, but they kept bringing it and kept bringing it. Cherry, well, we'll see here in some of these hits, Sherry was launched its opponent across the arena over and over again. Alexander King doing a phenomenal drive job. Trevor there with Void doing the best they could, but again, fighting an uphill battle with a type disadvantage until, again, the weirdest things happen. I think April 2025 is going to go down in NHRL history as the most mischievous of gremlins having attended.
Quite a night of gremlins and curses and who knows what tonight.
The
a lot
black
of
magic, as you
emotions
say.
all around and a lot of good fights.
A lot of good fights. And yeah, let's not forget that even with all these gremlins, just incredible emotions and incredible fights throughout the day. Sam, why don't you bring it home for us?
Oh, I'm feeling just as anxious as y'all, waiting for that judge's decision. Maybe not quite as much as the Cherry or the Void team, but I'm still feeling it. I'm really excited to see what they saw in that match because I'm having a hard time over here figuring out if what Cherry did at the beginning was enough to compensate for how they did at the end, and see how it all pans out across the three judges. And they are going to be letting us know exactly what they thought soon enough. But until then, big ups to the RoboJacket team for getting 2 of their robots into the finals here at the April NHRL event. And awesome job taking it with their 30 and potentially taking it with their 12. But Void standing in their way, Team Defective, one of the teams on the grow here at NHRL. Everybody wants this W. The RoboJackets are right by me, and a lot of stress all around. And I'm just looking over to the teams again and again, hoping that the judge's decision is in, and it is in right now. And we're going to go to these teams, and here it is. Your winner, Cherry, by split decision. Cherry takes it over Void. 2 dumpsters for the RoboJackets team. Georgia is gonna be glowing tonight. Cherry, they're chanting Cherry, and with good reason. Cherry takes it in the 12-pound class after a close judge's decision over Void. I'm excited, and I know the team is excited, and let's head over to Kyle with the team right now. Do your thing, Kyle.
That's right. I am standing by with Alexander King and the RoboJackets team. Alexander, bringing home the 2nd win for your team today. What is going on in Georgia? What is going on with your robotics team? Why are you guys so good?
I don't know. On Thursday, I wasn't even sure if this robot was going to work. So we've had a crazy run. I'm really glad for the team that's behind me.
I gotta say, after that fight, I'm still not sure the robot works. What was happening at the end there? That was crazy.
Yeah, right now I think our drive motors might have been thermal throttling a bit. So since they're overheating, I can only drive them in bursts for like a couple seconds.
Well, it was enough, and it was just enough. So congratulations, Alexander. There's only one thing left to do, sir. Hold it high. Congratulations.
That's gonna do it for this April tournament. It was truly a great one, and if you're interested in fighting your own robots, if you're doing your designs right after this, if you can't help but to sketch a new robot, check out NHRL.io. We will get you started, whether it's with Academy or just joining our community, but either way, we will see you on May 3rd for our next tournament. Ta-ta for now.